I really love about this sport is every single event that we do represents something that they used to do every day in the woods. Old time logging, granted now it's all race equipment, but the concepts behind every single event we do, that's what built this country, is harvesting timber to build, homes and towns and stuff.
Stihl Timbersports is the pinnacle of lumberjack sports.
The bigger stage, I feel like, gets me more amped up.
It's no secret that I like a big crowd. I like feeding off their energy. I like trying to get the crowd going.
It's neat seeing the stage out here. We got this here. It gets you pumped up. It always gets those little butterflies going in the stomach, and it's time to produce. This is what we wait for all year long.
Anxiety. The camera's in your face.
It's what people immediately refer to when they think, who is the king of the hill? You see me wearing these right now? I take these off. I can see to the end of the axe head. That's as far as I can see. All the crowd, all the noise, all the chatter, everything away from me.
6 events and you can't make a mistake.
You're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some.
This is the big show.
I'm just ready to have some fun.
And for that, it enables me to focus completely on what I am doing that's right in front of me.
3, 2, 1, go!
Cassidy Shear to the center first. Matt Koger with a slight lead. Matt Koger in the bottom of the lug. And it's Matt Koger. He did it!
Congratulations to all. Ladies and gentlemen, our 2021 U.S. Men's Champions!
Welcome everyone. We are here and ready for the final battle to decide the Stihl Timbersports champion for the United States of America 2022. The battle is about to begin. The man who's going to take us through it, let's introduce him right now. He's been a part of this championship for the better part of 3 decades. He's well known as one of the greatest choppers and sawyers in the world, the living legend, Super Dave Jewett.
It's always an adrenaline rush when these guys call me out here. Thanks very much. Yep, they're still calling me Super Dave. I got that for the 25 years I competed in the original extreme sport, Stihl Timbersports, since I started in the early 90s. It has exploded. 27 countries involved now. It's being aired around the world. We're filming it live stream. It's going to be aired on a later date on CBS Sports. So much has happened. So much is about to happen. We saw the rookies. We saw the men's semifinals. We saw the women's finals. And I've lost track of how many world records have been broken. Anyway, it's about to happen. The men's finals. 3 chopping events, 3 sawing events. I'm going to be calling the show with some help from the 2 veterans up here. Tommy Sanders, been in timber sports 33 years and an ex-timber sports athlete, broke the record in the crosscut. Kevin Holtz.
Thank you so much, Super Dave. Man, Kevin Holtz, we ask you this every time around. We have 12 great ones here in this field today. You could make a case for each and every one of them. You could see a pathway for each and every one of them, but in your mind, who are the ones who are going to be the top points getters right around the top when it's all said and done?
Well, the obvious answer to that is 6-time champion Matt Koger and our reigning champion Jason Lentz. The 2 of those are going to be duking it out all throughout the day. However, we've got some guys that have just been right there for so many years. They've just got to break through at some point, and this could be the year. Maddie Slingerland is at the top of my list. I'm also watching very closely Nate Hodges. He has been just on a runaway rail car the past few years. Relatively, I would call it in his infancy in the sport, but don't tell him that. Just because he's not a multi-generational competitor, it's not going to slow him down. Very tough group coming into our finals here today.
So many great stories working today, and Dave Jewett, I know you'll agree that this is a great field of 12. Why don't we get to know them right now?
Thanks, Tommy. They are out back and ready to go, so let's bring them out all the way from Barnett, Vermont, Calvin Willard. From Toll House, California, Walt Page. And his second year in the Timber Sports Finals, Ben Nicely. From Webster Springs, West Virginia, Arden Koger Jr. Coming out of Tennessee, Adam Lethko. He's back for his second time in a row in the Timber Sports Finals, Grant Foreman. He flew his own personal plane all the way from California. He's back, Nate Hodges. Six-time Timber Sports National Champion, Matthew Koger. Give it up for Josh Wilson. From Minneapolis, Minnesota, ex-Timber Sports champion Cassidy Shear. And from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, Matthew Slingerland.
Three, two, one, go!
Jason Lentz was running through this block. Oh my God. Jason Lentz set up an impressive time. Jason seemed focused, seemed motivated. Quick to the wood is Jason Lentz.
My name is Jason Lentz. I am 36 years old and I'm from Diana, West Virginia.
Look at the slabs just falling apart on that block.
I come from the longest living name in the sport in the United States. I'm a fourth generation competitor. Sports in my blood.
He is already going into a drive mode, and there it is. Jason Lentz right on his heels.
That was the 2021 U.S. champion.
The 2021 U.S. Stihl Timbersports champion, Jason Lentz.
Every time I step on stage, it's first or nothing. Seconds, first losers. Time to repeat.
Our final competitor, you all know who he is, the returning champion from Diana, West Virginia, Jason Lentz. And let's bring out our two judges, our head judge, Rich Hallett, and the assistant head judge, Nathan Waterfield. And let's take a moment, please rise if you are able, and focus for the playing of our national anthem. There you go. Big round of applause for our 12 finalists. Let's kick it off. 3 chopping events, 3 sawing events coming at you.
The Stihl Timbersports individual competition. In the first round, all athletes compete in 3 disciplines: the underhand chop, the stock saw, and the standing block chop. The times achieved will be converted into points upon completion of each discipline. In round 1, a difference of 1 point applies in each discipline. Thus, the fastest athlete received 12 points and the slowest only 1 point. Any rule infraction will result in a disqualification, and the athlete will receive 0 points for that discipline. At the end of the first round, the athletes with the lowest scores are eliminated. Only 8 athletes make it to the second round. In this second round, the remaining athletes compete in the single buck and the springboard for increased scores. With 2 points difference between placings, the fastest athlete now receives 16 points and the slowest receives 2. The 2 athletes with the lowest total points are eliminated at the end of round 2. Only the top 6 reach the third round. In the third round, anything is still possible in the hot saw, as an increased score interval of 3 points applies in this final round. The fastest athlete can score up to 18 points at the hot saw, the slowest only 3 points. The athlete who manages to achieve the highest total score across all 3 rounds is the new champion.
Well, they are ready to go. Our first event is the underhand chop. For a better idea of what you're about to see, take a look.
The axes used in timber sports definitely can't be bought at your local hardware store. Made from special steel, the blade is hand sanded with an angle of 13 to 16 degrees. It's custom built and carefully adjusted for each competition. The weight is around 3 kilos and it's about 80 centimeters long. The blade is so sharp that you could shave with it. Underhand chop. In the past, the underhand chop technique was used to split logs. Standing on a horizontally anchored block, the athletes cut through a 32 centimeter log. The block has to be worked from both sides.
Well, if you want to see it done well, go to our 6-time champion. There he is on the right side of your stage. This is from Milwaukee. He is going to lay down a new record here. Watch this cut just fall apart. Already to the backside of the block and off. Big fist pump from Matt Koger.
Heat number 1, let's bring him out. Calvin Willard and Walt Page. Willard on the left. Page on the right. Looking at 30 centimeters of white pine. And you'll hear me talk about metric measurements. Why? Because we are worldwide right now. Again, 27 countries involved. This first heat gonna lay down the time to beat.
Athletes ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Calvin Willard from Vermont in New England, all the way across the country in the Sierras. Walt Page from Toll House, California.
Yeah, you can't get much farther apart in the country than these 2 competitors, but they are both exceptional cutters, both with very similar swing styles. As they work their way around to the back of the log, Walt's got to get to the bottom of that block some more. He's got a pretty significant wall of wood there. Calvin Willard, I think, might be able to reel him in. Wow, Walt Page blows through at the top, but again, he's got wood hanging at the bottom. He might be a little dog-leg even. Oh, yeah, you can see just a big wing of wood there from the front side of that log on the bottom of that log, and it is so hard to reach through from that backside to find those last fibers.
That's such composure by Calvin Willard. Hopefully we'll get a word from him. In the meantime, we'll get these competitors over to the judging zone. Make sure there's no disqualification. If you haven't seen the underhand chop before, there's ways to be disqualified. Jumping the gun, cutting through the flat spot, those footholds. or if a slab runs down the end of the log. We'll see what head judge Hallett says.
Nice job. Both cuts are good.
Now, calling that event, I always have to give myself a little credit if I get it right. Walt Page turned early, and I said, don't count Calvin out. He stays in the front. You always have composure in this sport. You knew to stay there. You knew when you drove in the back it was going to come off. Classic Calvin Willard cut. How'd you feel?
Not too bad. I felt like I turned a little bit early. I still had a fair bit of wood in the bottom, but took me a little bit longer to get it off than I wanted, but not terrible.
Thanks, Calvin.
Yep, thanks, Dave.
Here's one more look at that round of the underhand. As you can see there's Calvin Willard turning around to the backside of the block. Didn't quite get that first opening blow quite as low as he wanted to, I think, based on the marks that he had there. But look at how clean that cut is. There's a good look at the chip face of his cut. His left-hand side of that log, and he drives into the wing of wood at the bottom, clears through, and makes the cut. Let's contrast that with, here's Walt Page over on stand number 2. A lot of wood. He drove through cleanly at the top, but it was that fiber at the bottom that, sorry, that was Calvin Willard again. I thought we were switching over to Walt. But he got through that bottom, cleared that chip, and was able to finish up his chop.
Second heat of the underhand chop, Ben Nicely and Arden Koger Jr. Nicely on stand 1 on your left, chasing down 24-7-4. And they are looking for every steel point that they can grab. After 3 events, we are going to lose 2 of our competitors when the points are tallied up. So everything on the line right out of the gates. Watch the speed of Junior on your right. The enormous swing and power from Nicely on your left.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Ben Nicely out of North Carolina, and the ageless one, Arden Koger Jr., to the right on stand number 2.
Well, I wasn't going to bring it up, Tommy, but since you did, let's talk about age. Arden Koger Jr., one of our more veteran competitors. Ben Nicely, one of our youngest competitors out there. Also very different swing styles. Ben Nicely, long, lanky, big reach. Arden Koger Jr., he'll admit it, he's not the tallest guy out there, so he has to just absolutely throw that axe into the block. A shorter swing with big power behind it. 21 seconds showing for Ben Nicely.
Knowing he had to gain ground on Ben Nicely. Only 1 second apart from both these athletes, but unofficially, Ben Nicely taking over the lead from Calvin Willard.
Nice job, gentlemen. Both cuts are good.
One of the tallest competitors, one of the youngest competitors. How do you battle these veterans like Arden Koger Jr.?
You just got to chop your chop. You know, Jamie's a good chopper. I know he's fast, but you can't listen to him. You got to stay on your own block.
You're incredibly accurate. It looked like you won the accuracy award between you and Arden. How important is that, laying the axe on top of each other, every hit lining up?
Well, you don't want to double cut your wood, so if you're lining up your hits, you're doing what you need to do.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Very mature statements from the young Ben Nicely. I love how he said you can't listen to Arden, you can't listen to Jamie down there, because Jamie is putting in hit after hit after hit, one of the fastest swing speeds out there. Ben knows he's got to cut his own block, and he makes a great point about double cutting as well. If he can chase each hit in one right after the other, following the kerf of that axe, watch these hits just travel directly in line. That one he stepped in about an inch, but there you go. There's a great example. Chase that hit right down the last slice. Saved himself probably an 1/8 of an inch on every swing, that you can line up those hits perfectly.
Official time for Ben Nicely, 20.74. He is on top, and right behind him, Arden Koger Jr., officially 21.85.
Heat number 3, Adam Lethgo and Grant Foreman. Adam Lethgo shocking the world yesterday, breaking the record in the hot saw, and he is still riding that high. He took a spill off the springboard, rebounded, answered the challenge in the hot saw. So stick around. You've got to see the 6th event today to watch Adam Lethko and Grant Foreman just tearing apart Timbersports his 2nd year in a row making the finals.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
I've always been a big Adam Lethko fan there on the left side of your screen. I almost want to get like an Adam Lethko tattoo after the performance yesterday. Came off the second board of the springboard, landed hard on the stage, got back up and still finished 3rd. Rallied back in the next discipline, won the hot saw. Now he's going to try to take down this underhand, but he's drawn a stiff dance partner here. Grant Foreman, a very smart cutter, takes these blocks apart very efficiently. They are now looking to drive. Foreman reels back. He's going to end up just about 2 blows behind Adam Lethko.
Came on late in the second half of that log. Grant Foreman just driving, disappointing these competitors when the axe is sick. They kind of lose their balance, they lose the energy, lose that momentum. And Adam Lethko just kept doing the job. Right around 30 seconds, gonna get some Stihl points. He wants to move on to that next round.
Nice job, gentlemen. Both cuts are good.
You know, in real-time speed, we're just seeing axes hitting wood. But you know when you slow it down at 120 frames per second, it's all about the delivery of the axe. Are you trying to deliver the whole face of the axe to the wood, or do you enter with the heel and sort of slice it like a knife?
Generally, I'm at it a little bit more than just the heel. But I did a little bit too much face and had a lot of slice to my hits. I was a little bit off balance or something today, but way too much slope at the beginning. So it came cutting all the way across my face, too steep. So when I came to my back side, I was dog-legged and my hits didn't line up to take the block off easily.
One of the best choppers, one of the best coaches, one of the best springboarders in the world. Stick around. We're going to show what happened to you yesterday, a mishap. Want to know how you're feeling physically and mentally after that tumble off the springboard yesterday. Here we go. Tell us what you see.
Well, if you see right here, this chip kind of hangs and gets in my way right there. Completely spins me off. And so landed pretty hard on my right hand to have my arm out, and left shoulder's a little sore. But I kind of let adrenaline take over. Noticed my axe wasn't stuck in me. So I climbed back up and figured I'd do the damage assessment as I was chopping.
Now here's what happened moments after that. You're breaking the hot saw world record. Did that fall off the springboard fuel you to break this record?
No, not completely. That was my main goal for my whole trip here, is to get another chance at that record after last year. And so I'm just here to have fun today.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Eat for Nate Hodges and Matthew Koger. Matt Koger, on your right, our 6-time national champion, going for his 3rd attempt at championship number 7. Nate Hodges, the speed, the power, he showed up and he is in the game immediately, not long in this sport, but he's one of the best in the world. Watch the power and the speed of Hodges. Watch the determination, the world record technique of Matt Koger.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Matt Koger fast in the wood, had about a half-inch advantage.
Two of the heaviest hitters in the sport. Nate Hodges over on your left, Matt Koger on your right. Koger around already. I love the sound of that axe in the block. It is crisp, it is clean, he is chasing every last hit in. We talked about world records, and he is right with that pace, unofficially showing a 14-second underhand cut.
Yeah, that's it. He's arrived. Yeah, we're going to talk to you in a minute. You better stick around. I'm holding on to this block.
Okay, both cuts are good.
Oh boy, what a cut. You're even being harassed by Mike Slingerland off the stage saying you could have cut it faster. Look at these hits. I hope the camera can get a close-up of this. It's absolute precision. Even when you cut fast, even when you broke the standing block world record, you said, I could have cut it faster. Could you have cut this faster?
Oh yeah, I think I really could have. Actually, I've been using a different axe by Rob Spry. It's a little thinner, and you can see on the block there's these little chatter marks all the way through it. So it's just it's on the verge of breaking maybe.
Great job. I got to put this down, otherwise we'd keep talking. Go get it.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, what a run from Matt Koger, showing a 1373 right now on the board. I love the sound of the axe in that block, even if he thought maybe he was on the verge of breaking. It was on the right side of the verge. It held together. I talked with Matt Koger at the start of the day. We were up on the stage, and I kind of cued in on that block. I said, boy, I see a little Wayne on that. That's top of the tree. We're always trying to see who's got a slight advantage. Matt Koger says, you see the name on the top of that block? It was Matt Koger's block, and that was it right there. Right tool, right man, right tree, and it all came together very nicely.
Official time 1373, but not a world record. You would have thought world record when you saw that time, but another guy's cut one 1360. No, not another guy. 1362 by one Matt Koger. Man, what a level of talent we have.
Let's bring them out. The next
today.
seat, Josh Wilson and Jason Lentz. Here's Jason Lentz, our returning, defending champion on the right. Fighting weight of 265 pounds, fourth generation lumberjack athlete. Chasing down Matt Koger's 1373.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
1373 has been posted. Jason Lentz and Josh Wilson both chasing that hard and heavy. Josh Wilson, I think, is the most underrated cutter in the country right now. He has been coming on like a house of fire. He is around to the backside of the block. I'm worried it might have been premature, perhaps chasing that record. Jason Lentz, a very clean cut, looking to drive. Wilson versus Lentz. It is Lentz not going to be able to take down that time. He's going to slide deeper into that field. Didn't see a lot of movement from Josh Wilson's block, but he's confident that it's off.
A lot of these competitors flirt with the go. They try to gamble, getting that extra half a swing in before risking that gun. But it gained Jason Lentz some ground, taking the win on that. Probably won't beat Matt Koger, but he's going to be right there in the top three.
All right, gentlemen, your cut was good. DQ did not finish.
We got our defending champion, Jason Lentz, right here. Jason, what's it like being back in Little Rock to defend your title?
Yeah, it's really good to be here, especially with a crowd. Thanks you guys for coming out.
You won, and I call it the endurance race. It's the U.S. Trophy event back in May. Just running, you just got this momentum going. What was it like to win the Champions Trophy and then come right back here to defend this title?
Oh, it's really good, Dave. I'm on a roll. I feel had a bit of a slow start there in that underhand, but 5 more events, a lot of points to make up. It'll be a good race in the end, I think.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
I had this sinking feeling looking down at stand number 1 and Josh Wilson. We got a great look here at Jason Lentz. Look at the opening blow on the backside of that, right to the maker's mark, as we like to say. He got lost a little bit here at the bottom. It just didn't seem to want to lift chips. There he goes back and picks it up. but again, just not making the progress that he wanted and getting the time that he wanted. Josh Wilson over here on stand number 1. At the end of this log, he's got a tough decision to make. The log is only fastened underneath his right foot. The left side is free to move. So sometimes you see there it shifted a little bit, He hits it again. You saw him pop up and come back down. He could have gone back and put in another hit, but that would have counted towards his time. What ended up happening is there was a flag thrown. They went over and they pulled on the end of that log. It did not come apart freely. There were some fibers somewhere in the inside of that log that were still held together. Jason Lentz, though, there on your screen, you see no decision to be made there. Clearly a finished block.
Unfortunately, the DQ for Josh Wilson, and Jason Lentz with an official time of 22.19 has him in 5th place. Matt Koger still on top.
Final heat of the underhand, our top 2 qualifiers, Cassidy Shear and Matt Slingerland. Cassidy Shear, former champion, and can he cut an underhand? Both of these competitors, the speed, the power. You see Cassidy chalking up that axe handle, eliminating any risk of friction on that slide hand, and gaining every microsecond he can in this race. Chasing 13.73.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Cassidy Shear on your left, one-time champion. He'd love to become the 2nd, 3rd, 4-time champion. He is around to the back, and he's got a smasher of a log and a smasher of a gut. Big slab of wood falling out of the backside of the block. Matt Slingerland is probably going to have a hard time reeling him in. Cassidy Shear comes off around 17 seconds.
Huge skill points there.
That is going to do a lot of good for Cassidy Shear in his bid to return to the top of this field.
And I've yet to see a yellow flag. These yellow flags typically mean potential disqualification. Looks like both cuts unofficially are good.
Nice job, gentlemen. Both cuts are good.
Cassidy, very rarely did we talk about the transition. You turn to the backside of that underhand and you laid in and blew a whole slab off. How important is it to set your feet and really get ready to load into that back hit?
Yeah, you know, I'm big on risk-reward analysis in timber sports, and I have a slow turn just because I want to get set. I want to make those opening hits count. That's a great feeling when you lay into that backside and it blows out like that. Very happy with that cut. Looking forward to the stock saw.
Thanks, Cass.
Thank you.
Well, I'd be happy with that cut too. Watch this. This is what Dave's talking about in that turn. Opening drives, throwing a huge axe into there, slabs that whole face off. It doesn't carry out the end of the block, and he does have slab nails in place, so it's a safe cut. Here's what else Cassidy Shear did very well. He cleaned out the bottom of that block. That face was very vertical down there, no wing of wood. He's reaching that bottom timber. Very clean, very smart cut.
Cassidy Shear, the official time of 16.86. Matt Slingerland right behind with a 19.86. So Matthew Koger with a cut just a part of a second off of his world record 13.73 is your winner in the underhand chop. Plenty more to come. 2 more disciplines on the way before we have 4 contenders drop from our field. That'll be the first big transition of the day. Coming up next, it is the stock saw. Stay with us.
Let's roll, let's go.
When we work in harmony, anything is possible.
Big league performance in your backyard with battery power made by Stihl. Our AK home motor system starts at just $199.99. Not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. Find yours at over 10,000 local Stihl dealers.
Stihl, the name you love and trust, is at acehardware.com. From chainsaws to edgers, trimmers to blowers, Ace has the Stihl equipment you need. Just pick your power from gas to battery. Stihl has you covered at acehardware.com.
Duluth Trading Company was born from generations who showed us that the only way to live life is to live it hands-on.
To do it the hard way. To take the trail untrodden. To take the damn thing apart, put it back together, and have the world be better for it.
We don't think that the go all in, dig deep, and get your hands dirty spirit exists in everybody.
We know it does. Duluth Trading. Take on life with your own two hands.
All right, crowd, I need y'all to do me a favor. We're going live to the world here in about 15 seconds. I need everybody on their feet. The cameras are gonna focus on you. You're gonna make the noise. I'm losing my voice a little bit, so you gotta help me out. I'm gonna give you a countdown, and then we're gonna shoot you live to the world on Stihl Timbersports live stream. And again, this will be aired also on CBS Sports. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give it up for Stihl Timbersports. That's pretty good. We're gonna do it. They're telling us you gotta do it one more time. One more time. That was pretty good. Hey, maybe I can get some help. I got the national women's champion, Erin Lavoie, in the front row. Why don't you get the crowd going for me? Throw your hands up. Ready? Here we go. I can hear you upset. Wait for the production truck to tell me. Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give it up! Here we go, and the next event coming up is the stock saw. Take a look.
6.1 cm stock saw is used in Stihl Timbersports as the ultimate test of operator skill. Designed for the toughest jobs in forestry, it produces approximately 7.3 horsepower, has a displacement of 91.1 cc, and weighs 7.4 kilograms. To ensure evenly and fairly matched saws, professional Stihl technicians prepare and test the saws before each competition. Stock saw. After the starting shot, the contestants have to cut 2 wooden discs, so-called cookies, within a 10-centimeter mark, one downward and one upward. The attempt is only valid when both discs have been cut off completely and within the marks.
All right, stock saw. We got 6 heats on the way there, including matchups between Walt Page and Adam Lethko, Grant Foreman and Matt Slingerland, Nate Hodges and Matt Koger, Jason Lentz versus Josh Wilson, Ben Nicely and Arden Koger Jr. And Dave, get us ready for heat number 1.
Heat 1 of the stock saw, Cassidy Shear and Calvin Willard. Cassidy Shear sitting in second place with overall Stihl points right now. Calvin Willard, he just explodes in these sawing events. It was the stock saw ability of Cassidy Shear, though, when he debuted in Stihl Timbersports. He came out dominating the stock saw, and he continues. But again, they're chasing all the Stihl points they can get. Remember, after the first 3 events, we are going to lose 2 competitors.
Warm up your saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Pool B qualifying action. Every single athlete was within 1 second of each other. That's how good these guys are getting, how close they're getting. Cassidy Shear, it may not have looked like it, but he just ran away with that heat. That was one of the biggest margins of victory compared to anything we saw yesterday.
It's not just the cutting time, it's the transition from the down cut to the up cut.
Both cuts are good.
You know, Cassidy, we talk about the transition in the underhand from the front to the back. Talk about the transition from your down cut to your up cut.
Yeah, I mean, you can try to go fast, you can try to go smooth. I tell myself that fast is smooth. I've had a horrendous, ugly stock saw monkey on my back for the last 3 years. I've been getting 6th and 7th place. It's always hard in the first heat. The saws aren't totally warm sometimes. But I got out of that cut. It felt smooth. It felt good. I'm going to take it for what it is. Go focus on having a good standing block.
Absolutely. Thanks, Cassidy.
Let's take a look at this run from Cassidy Shear. Up and clean, very clean to the wood. He had a crayon mark on the top that he was shooting for. You can't see it anymore. He nailed it. Crayon erased. Great cut coming back up through the block. You see these guys, they'll back that nose out in. I've got some theories on why they're doing it, why it's aggressive, and why it works. You'll also see at the very end, at that top of that second cut, on the far side top part of that log, you'll see some fuzz up there. These guys are literally shoving the saw through that last part of the block, almost to the point the saw stalls out. They're trying to get every last ounce they can out of that and rip it through the top of the log.
Well, Cassidy Shear coming off a second place in our first discipline. Post an 11.26. Good competitive time right there. He's on top for now. Official time for Calvin Willard, 11.66.
Heat 2 of the stock saw, Ben Nicely and Ardent Jr. 11.26. The time to beat. Steel points on the line. The next event, the standing block. After the standing block, again, 2 competitors go home. So much on the line right now. Just attacking this 40-centimeter log is Nicely on your left, Junior on the right.
Warm up your saws.
Saw these same 2 guys go head-to-head in the underhand. We were talking, I think you actually brought it up, the age discrepancy between these 2 competitors.
In a good way.
In a good way. It was advantaged nicely then. We're going to see if the wily vet, Arden Coker Jr., can reel him in the stock saw.
3, 2, 1, go!
Nicely, clearly ahead on the start. Quick to the saw. But it's advantage. Oh, no, trouble on stand 2. Arden Coker is using an eraser and just destroying that line. He steps around to the far side. He was just on a charge. That was a huge, that was like a butcher block tabletop. And there it is. Rich Hallett going all the way to the rafters on that flag.
Bucket, not as much error as
Oh, trouble on 1 though as well.
flag, but it was very close.
I think maybe Waterfield, they might be. No, they're looking for line there.
Making the competitors suffer a little bit longer with the hang time of those yellow flags.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately, both of you were DQ'd for cutting the line.
I really think you don't have to beat up on yourself too much in the stock saw because you got to go for it. You know, you have to get stock saw points. You know you're going to go home if you don't get past the standing block. How do you calm yourself down and just do the job you've been given here?
Well, Dave, when you get to my age in this sport, it comes to the right combination of ibuprofen and soluble fiber. And so when you get that right combination, that metric is right on. And unfortunately, I didn't have the right combination this morning.
Bring it out in the standing block, buddy. We'll see you again soon.
Yep, more Advil, more Advil.
Arden Jr. always the most unique interviews.
Well, here's a look at Arden Coker Jr.'s run. He had plenty of real estate to work with, very thin first cut. And you can see he didn't just nick the line, he was completely over the line on the bottom. He's lucky he didn't land that second cut on his toe. I was watching Arden Coker because I saw that disaster unfold. I thought nicely he had it under control. I'm watching this with you guys at the same time to see where things went off the rails for Ben Nicely. First cut is clean. He did get DQ'd for cutting over the line. Oh, there it was. So he moved over after he nicked the line. It doesn't matter. You cut the line, you cut the line. Doesn't matter if you try to repent and move the saw back to the outside of the block. Watch this butcher block slab hit the stage. Just a massive piece of wood. As Dave Jewett pointed out, you just got to go for it. And he was trying to be so quick on that switch, he just shuffled over a little too far.
Well, Nicely will have to do better. Arden will have to get the combination dialed up a little bit more, but they can come back. They can come back. Cassidy Shear remains on top with a time of 11.26.
Yeah, Kevin and Tommy, they're going for him. You saw Ben Nicely DQ the underhand. Unlike him, 2 DQs in the stock saw, but it's just competitors going for it. Timbersports is done after this final round,
right.
So you have to just leave it all out.
Do you think all these times in the 11s, Dave, had something to do with it too, getting these guys a little revved up extra?
All I know is there's 12 women that competed earlier, and a lot of them still have the faster times than the men so far. And you know they're having a beverage night now, patting themselves on the back.
That's good perspective right there.
Where are we? Oh, here we are. Heat 3 of the stock saw. Let's bring them out. Josh Wilson and Jason Lentz. Josh Wilson had a little trouble in the underhand, looking to rebound, an opportunity to rebound in the stock saw. He won the standing block yesterday. So Josh Wilson putting down a good time right now, putting up another good standing block, and he's going to stay alive in the final round today. Jason Lentz, again, had a rough cut in the underhand. Both competitors looking to claw their way back into the points.
Warm up your saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Both these guys leaving the wood in the exact same instant. Josh Wilson very quick and clean through that first cut. Jason Lentz is going to have to try to reel him in. I don't think it's going to happen. Josh Wilson is hungry for points. A 10-6-2 showing up on the board.
In the mid-10s.
Unbelievable artificial time by Wilson. The fist pump by Wilson. The points. Fighting his way back. We're going to get a quick interview from Josh Wilson, waiting for the judge's final call here.
All right, gentlemen, both cuts are good.
Josh, you needed that. An unfortunate disqualification in the underhand. You fought back. You had an opportunity. You took full advantage of what was given to you. How'd you get that sub 11-second time?
I just let the motor do the work. I mean, you just got to get to that perfect pitch, and I think I had most of the way anyway. So saw ran great. So yeah, I took advantage of it. You know, I saw the first or the second heat there, they both DQ'd, so that gave me a shot. So I had to do something.
Great job, Josh.
Thanks.
Well, Josh Wilson being way too modest. He's a very unassuming guy. He has wasted nothing in this cut. I couldn't see any air between the bottom of the chain and the top of that log. Watch this switch. Absolutely slams the saw back in. Again, second cut, a very thin cut, gets the nose rolled back in there and rips the top of that log off.
Official time of 10.4. Oh, that's like running away and hiding from the field right there. Great effort from Josh Wilson. Official time for his competitor there. It's going to be sorry, we just had a little hiccup here. Yeah, Jason Lentz, 11.25. Sorry.
All right, here we go. Next heat of the stock saw will be Nate Hodges and Matthew Koger. Hodges on your left, Koger on your right. Koger just smoking that underhand off. He's our points leader right now. And he needs this stock saw, fighting again for that 7th title. A couple disqualifications, and that helps. Each competitor that makes a mistake, that does help these guys chasing down these steel points. Nevertheless, they just got to attack this log. 10-4.
Warm up your saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Wow, both of these guys very quick on the go. Right together at the switch. Thin cut for Nate Hodges, very thin cut. It is Nate Hodges coming through at the end, showing barely a sub 11 second. Matt Koger gets credit for just being barely over 11 seconds.
The win of that heat there unofficially was the speed into the wood. Koger technically faster in the wood, but Hodges' speed into the wood.
He held that, and it gave him the very slim advantage over Koger. We'll wait for the final call.
Nice job, gentlemen. Both cuts are good.
Nate, I know I'm listening to Tom and Kevin and Tommy, and we were all like, holy cow, were you fast into the wood? There was no yellow flag. Rich didn't decide to review it. Could you be any faster into the wood than that?
Well, I was trying to go quick there, that's for sure.
You made 2 great cuts, sub 11 second time. What's more nerve-wracking, stock saw or flying your own plane from California to the Timbersports Finals?
I honestly, to be honest, this event right here is the most stressful event for me in Timbersports. It's the easiest one to perform, but you get into one, you know, we've already had 2 guys DQ. That just proves. We haven't had any other DQs, well, maybe 1, but it's a tough event because we're all trying so hard to be fast, and that's how the mistakes are made. So there's a fine line between too fast and running her proper. So
thanks for your time, Nate.
Right on, Dave. Thank you.
Here's one more look at that run from Nate Hodges. So quick to the wood. Here's a spot, though, coming up where he's going to be able to save some time. Watch the time out of the timber. There's just, again, folks, I'm an armchair lumberjack. This is my job. I'm supposed to tear these guys apart. And you could just see that extra nanosecond at the bottom of the cut where he just kind of paused out there, got squared up, and got it back into the wood. There's an opportunity to save some more time off that already fast cut.
All right, well, Nate Hodges follows Josh Wilson into the sub-11 territory there with a 10.77. Officially, Matt Koger, 11.14.
Well, Josh Wilson is in a country all on his own, isn't he, Kevin and Tommy? And that's just ridiculous. He's almost a full half second ahead of Hodges.
Yeah, and some of that difference is what I just pointed out with Nate Hodges. He was out of the wood on that transition for, relatively speaking, an eternity. I mean, it was probably a couple hundredths of a second, but that couple hundredths of a second takes him from a 10.77 to maybe a 10.72. And just every little change these guys can make just works them ever closer to that perfect cut.
Heat 5, Grant Foreman and Matt Slingerland. Now we talk about speed into the wood. Speed you need is Matt Slingerland on the right. Watch for the one-hand grab. The speed in the transition. They're going for 0.2 seconds. 0.2 of a second out of the wood to make the exchange into the upcut. That's what Slingerland trains. Can Foreman keep up with the speed of Slingerland? Look at that. Look at him warming up. It's unbelievably fast to the top of that log. Now we're going to let these competitors go at it.
Warm up your saw. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Matty Slingerland showing that patented one-handed grab and very quick off the line. Grant Foreman, though, has him reeled in through that first cut. Matty's got the nose buried, looking to rip it. What a close run for these two competitors.
Unreal. So 11 seconds. He did exactly what he trained.
And he's done it again, under 11 seconds. The head nod. He's got a little swagger over here. A little noise in the, we hearing some noise in the crowd from Matt Slingerland?
All right, gentlemen, both cuts are good.
Matty's so fast into the wood, that one-hand grab, but it has to be fast and accurate. Is there a point where you tend to go beyond your ability, then you have to dial it back? How do you find that?
I'd like to think not, Dave. I just practice doing starts all the time. It's part of training. You don't have to necessarily cut to practice the start, so I do it out back to warm up, and I just go for it. So
I know you train with your dad, Mike. I was talking with him at breakfast. He was talking about the exchange and how you need to get out of the wood and back into the wood in about 0.2 of a second. Is that really possible?
Yeah, I take that out of his playbook. Must have learned that from him.
Hey, standing block coming up. Go get him.
Thanks.
Well, folks, we were talking about how hundredths of a second can make a difference. Nate Hodges had that 10.77. Matt Slingerland's official time is in 10.78. So that's going to drop him 1 point back behind Nate Hodges. Look at the discharge coming out of this MS661C, just getting every ounce that he can out of that saw. And again, watch him roll the nose back into that block, and at the very end, he's going to rip through the top of this cut.
Well, the journey below 11 seconds continues here. Matt Slingerland's official time, 10.78, and Grant Foreman as well, 10.89. They are in third and fourth with those times.
Final heat of the stock saw. Give it up for Walt Page and Adam Lethgo. There's Adam Lethgo on the right. He ran his hot saw yesterday, handled it like a stock saw. He trains with Matty Slingerland. They race each other. And look for that Slingerland speed coming out in Lethgo. Can Lethgo best the speed, best the cutting time, the transitions of Slingerland, or will Walt Page steal the show and grab those steel points? 10.40, a ridiculous, silly speed, not from this planet, on the line.
Warm up your saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, I don't know about stand number 2. Adam Lethgo, an exceptional stock sawyer, but he might be pushing a little too hard. I heard some funny noises coming from Dave Jewett on the stage too. Walt Page though says, I'm going to run you down. Lethgo knows that he was very close on that.
Adam Lethgo has got the fastest start in the business.
Flirting with the go. We're going to see if that yellow flag in Rich Hallett's back pocket's going to get any sort of airtime. And he's thinking about it. No, he's leaving it there. Shaking his head. He's got some swagger. Looking good. So far, the yellow flag's in the pocket. And no, he's going to keep it there. He's going to let Adam Lethgo go without reviewing it. Are you kidding me? Oh, he reviewed it already. I'll let you make the call.
Yes, we did review that video. We have a guy down here watching the high-speed video and checking the fingers, and I got the thumbs up, so we are good, and both cuts are good.
Why don't you you get out of here. We've talked to you. Hey, Rich, get over here. We haven't talked to you all weekend. I mean, I could hear my other co-commentators going, are you kidding me? That's got to be a disqualification. What did you see when Adam on that go? He was as fast, I think, as you can get.
Yeah, he was right on it, and and that's why we've got this system in place. We have high-definition cameras right over the fingers, and I've got a guy down here who's checking every single heat. And if you watch me and I'm walking over here, I'm catching his eye to make sure that he's got it and he's reviewed it and he gave me the thumbs up, so we are good.
Great job, Rich. Congratulations.
Our head judge, Rich Hallett, our whole scoring team, the Granite State crew, what an exceptional group. Let's watch this run from Adam Lethgo, really pushing the limits, and that's what you've got to do as he works his way down through, slams the saw into the bottom of that cut, and then rips it through at the top. 2 clean, consistent runs. There you can see all that fuzz at the top of it there, and here's a great slow motion run. Absolutely loading up that saw. It is all about that ear-hand coordination and making sure that you're running right at that optimal performance zone where your torque, your horsepower are all maximized, and Adam Lethgo is doing that about as good as anyone here today. Going back real quick to that scoring system, those high-speed, high-resolution cameras are over their hands. There is also a strobe light, if you watch very carefully, a strobe light that flashes the instant that the pre-recorded go goes off. So what we're sequencing is that automatic strobe light on the go and those high-resolution, high-speed cameras over the blocks.
Adam Lethgo, official time 10.69, good enough for second place. Walt Page with a 10.89, fully half of our field below 11 seconds. This trip to the moon with stock saw just continues here in the championship. Man, oh man, two of our disciplines are down right now. We have one more to go before we reach a transition point. We have to lose the bottom 4 competitors, so the pressure is on. With our next discipline coming up, the standing block chop, it will be crucial. And we'll be right back to bring it to you.
Stihl, the name you love and trust, is at acehardware.com. From chainsaws to edgers, trimmers to blowers, Ace has the Stihl equipment you need. Just pick your power. From gas to battery, Stihl has you covered at acehardware.com.
Duluth Trading Company was born from generations who showed us that the only way to live life is to live it hands-on.
To do it the hard way. To take the trail untrodden. To take the damn thing apart, put it back together, and have the world be better for it.
We don't think that the go all in, dig deep, and get your hands dirty spirit exists in everybody.
We know it does. Duluth Trading. Take on life with your own two hands.
Gentlemen, they say we're not going to go.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local steel dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Not everyone can say that, but we can. Made in America. Real steel. Find yours.
Let's roll, let's go.
When we work in harmony, anything is possible.
30 seconds. Our next event will be the stock saw. Make some noise. Check it out. Standing block chop.
At the standing block chop, the felling of a tree with an axe is simulated. A vertically positioned wooden block with a diameter of 30 centimeters has to be cut through both sides. A powerful and precise swing with the axe is the premise of a good result.
Six heats will include matchups between Nate Hodges and Matt Koger, Cassidy Shear, Josh Wilson, Jason Lentz, and Calvin Willard, Grant Foreman, Arden Koger Jr., Adam Lethko, and Matt Slingerland. And Dave, our heat number 1 is just about ready to start.
All right, let's bring it out. Heat number 1 in the standing block. Ben Nicely and Walt Page. Ben Nicely. Walt Page, 2 of the best axemen in the world. And again, this is going to be a chance to grab these steel points. We got 12 competitors now. We're going to knock it down to 10 after this standing block. I give a slight advantage to Walt Page. The experience, the timing of Walt Page. But the power of Ben Nicely has just been coming on strong.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Synchronized starts, both these guys right together. What an interesting matchup with Nicely and Page running head-to-head. Very similar body styles, very similar swing styles. Ben Nicely blowing apart the front of that log with his upward driving blows. Walt Page looking to go near, gonna go middle, gonna go far. There it is. Walt Page drives off a 1961, showing as his unofficial time.
Fell back a little bit the semifinal round, and just a beautiful and enormous 8-hit front. Ben Nicely saw that log blow apart. A lot of times that means he's pinched. And when they pinch, the log blows apart. The power of the axe splitting the wood instead of slicing the wood. And maybe Walt can help us explain to you exactly how he cut that front. It's a very technical pattern he used.
Okay, both cuts are good.
You know, Walt, so many times we say to the crowd, we do a 1-and-1. We know people at home are going, what is a 1-and-1? It's 1 up, down, 1 up, 1 down. And what does that do? Does it create points that you aim at?
Absolutely it does, Dave. And the goal is just to remove that big chip right out of the front. It gives you 2 nice corners. You reach out and hit the far, the near, work it into the middle.
Got something to say to William Sergei back in the state of Washington?
Hey, William, how you doing, buddy? Hope you're enjoying it.
Thanks, Walt.
Yep, take care.
Well, let's take a look at that one-and-one pattern. Here's your upward blow. There's your downward blow. There's those points that he's talking about, those corners. He goes far, near, far again, and then keeps running that rotation. 2 hits driving up. He's going to run the same thing on the backside with a series of hits driving down. The idea is that they are offset. Those downward drivers on the backside should be above the upward drivers on the front side, driving off into clear air. Perfect timing for this shot. Watch as he comes down through. He almost gets into the stump, but he does manage to carry through into the fresh air on the front side of that log.
The time for Walt Page officially 19.43, Ben nicely 22.49.
Now, Kevin and Tommy, it didn't take us long to go sub 20 seconds by Walt Page. 5 heats to go, though. Watch the times drop.
Yeah, it didn't take long at all. It's the first heat, Dave. I mean, right out of the gate, we dropped below 20 seconds. Walt Page, I just made me feel really old yesterday because we were talking about, you and I were talking about when we were calling the collegiate series and his first cuts in the collegiate ranks. And he goes, yeah, that was like 14 years ago now.
All right, let's get into the second heat. Adam Lethgo and Matt Slingerland. Couple guys trained together. They got to put the friendship on hold momentarily. Lethgo, pound for pound, the best axeman in the business. Slingerland, fighting a slight elbow injury. You know he's not going to be bothered by that today. Looking to gain some big steel points here. Watch him explode into this. Trying to beat that 19.43.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Matty right good there, tight with the go. Lethgo also going with that 1-and-1 pattern, opening up now to 2-and-2. He's going to drive, get out of there. See how he did if he got the job done on the front. Matt Slingerland mixing things up a little bit. He kind of rotated that face around towards him. He's got a lot of wood to drive on the backside. Lethgo looking to drive the far side. There it is. Adam Lethgo. He's not going to take down Walt Page, but still a time in the very low 20s, 21 seconds. And of course, Tommy, we got to point out and remind folks that Adam Lethgo took a serious dive off the top board of the springboard. Yeah, not the bottom board, not just walking across the stage, but off the top board. I talked to him this morning during preparations. He said, yeah, my shoulder's a little sore, my wrist is a little sore, but I'll be all right once the go goes off.
Both cuts are good.
I'm just glad you wore deodorant today. Adam, I see you wincing a little bit. How's that wrist feeling after the fall yesterday?
Well, it's kind of had this hope that as I started competing, I'd quit forgetting about it. And it just keeps hurting worse and worse right now, so just got playing event by event.
Well, just throw everything in those hits. Your front foot comes off the ground for each hit. That just happens on its own.
Well, you can tell I'm thinking more about my wrist instead of my chopping. So I really need to keep both feet on the ground as lightweight as I am and try to stay attached to the ground as much as possible.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
We'll go back and look at that heat again. Here is Adam Lethgo on the near ground, Matt Slingerland in the far ground. You see that left wrist taped up. That was where he landed, was left wrist and shoulder. Great view coming around the back. Here he goes in 1-and-1. Goes to the guts of it on the bottom. Lots of wood left on the far side. You see that block twist. He got the near side cut. It twisted a bit, but he's got a tremendous amount of timber. He's still got to move on the far side of that log.
Adam Lethgo's official time, 21.62. Not enough to take down Walt Page. For Matt Slingerland, the official time, 23.86.
E3 of the standing block, Grant Foreman and Arden Koger Jr. Now Walt Page, that time at 19.43, still holding strong. Grant Foreman has just used that power to come into the Timber Sports ranks. He was at the bottom of the list a few years ago. Now he's made the finals 2 years in a row, earned the spot in the finals. And Junior, the veteran with the speed and the power, determination to stay alive in another finals round.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Arden Koger Jr. right there on that go. We see a lot of these guys pushing that envelope. It's not that Grant Foreman was way behind it, but Arden was just right on top of it. Grant is going to pepper 2 shots into the backside of that block before Arden can get there. I got the feeling Grant is going to run away with this one. If he can pull it together, I don't know. There it is. Found those last fibers, had a good amount of cuttable wood, or a good amount of drivable wood there, and he did a great job cutting off the top of that block. 19.37 showing for Grant Foreman, the engineer out of Ohio, using that engineering mindset to disassemble this block.
Grant is sitting, he's looking at it right now. Sometimes that's a little bit of compression wood. They think, hey, I gotta work this heat with a softer log. Grant Foreman with a beautiful log, a little white in it.
Took full advantage of that in a great cut. We'll see if he's taken over the lead.
Both cuts are good.
Hey, Grant, for those of us who were not watching yesterday, some of the fans don't know, a few years ago you were an alternate. You were down the list. You got into the Timber Sports. Now you've made your 2nd year in a row in the Timber Sports finals. Great standing block cut. How's the shoulder feeling? I know you've been fighting some injuries this year.
Shoulder's feeling good today. You know, the day of finals, a little adrenaline helps keep that feeling better, but always good to go up against my mentor, Arden Koger Jr. He's taught me a lot about chopping. Always great to go against him, and anytime I can pick off a win against him, it's a great chop.
Thanks, Grant.
Thank you.
Well, very good news for Grant Foreman as we go back to watch this cut. Not only did he pick off Arden Koger Jr., he's picked off everybody that's come before him. 19.06 for Grant Foreman. He is our new leader in this standing block chop as we watch him wade into the backside of this log. Got those opening blows centered up better than a lot of the competitors have. Gets that near wood cut. Again, you see the top of that block shift a little bit. 2 far drivers, and he cleans it off.
Well, a great cut and very timely for Grant Foreman with elimination looming. He certainly improves his position with regard to that right there with an official time of 19.06 for Arden Koger. Kind of the same predicament. He's going to have to sit and watch and see how his official 21.73 fares as we get through the standing block.
Heat for the standing block, Calvin Willard and Jason Lentz. Jason Lentz on the right, stand to our returning champion. One of the best standing block choppers in the world. We said it so many times, 4th generation lumberjack athlete using an 8-inch wide axe. One of the biggest axes they make today. Looking to take down a 19.06.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Both of these guys right together on that start. It doesn't get any closer than that. Calvin Willard, I love watching this guy take apart a stand-up block. Oh, I wish I'd seen him take a little more of that firewood out. Jason Lentz definitely has a better job done on the front. But I was going to say, maybe Calvin knows something we don't know. Jason Lentz, look at the wood he drove at the end of that block. Beautiful slope down there, great angle, great presentation of the axe. We call that the pig's ear sticking up out of the top of that block. Just drove a disgusting amount of timber there.
His facial expression has not changed. He is on a mission right now.
Not a whole lot of celebration for Jason Lentz. He says, I've got another event to go. I'm going to get focused. But his first hit right to the handle. And we're going to see the replay a few times on this one. Boy, Kevin, I'd be celebrating if I did that.
Both cuts are good.
You only put 5 hits in the back of the log. How fast do you have to make that quick decision in your head to say, I'm only going to put 5 in the back as opposed to maybe your original plan?
Well, I knew that before I left the front of the log. I could see this corner here in my 7th hit, cut this corner on this side, and I knew I was well past halfway, so yeah, I read it before I went around.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Here's a look at the wrap up on that front. You can see he was talking about, I knew I'd cut that corner, that up driver. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell from that camera angle, but that line is in through the crayon line on that side of the block, and then just drove. He talks about it like it's nothing. Like, yeah, I knew I could take that in 5. Here's a great angle. You can just see that hairline at the bottom of that front side. Actually see the block cracking apart as he's making those hits. And watch this hit right here. Just slashed down through a disturbing amount of timber.
Jason Lentz setting the new standard, his official time of 15.19. Calvin Willard officially 20.65.
Jason Lentz almost smiled there, but that is unofficial, Kevin.
Yeah. We'll put it back on video replay.
Heat 5 of the standing blocks, Josh Wilson and Cassidy Shear. Josh Wilson winning the standing block in his pool yesterday. You saw him, he's coming off that win in the stock saw at 10-4. Cassidy Shear, one of the best standing blocks, gets an enormous swing. Chalked up his handle again. We talk about all the micro advantages, and Cassidy will take every one of them. This will be fast.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Well, Josh Wilson gambled and lost in the underhand, wound up with a disqualification. This is his last chance to pick up those valuable steel points. Cassidy Shear around to the backside of this log, what's left of this log. He has done every bit of work and then some on the front. He'll be driving off his short work. No, it didn't go. Oh, so close.
Wow.
I had it a slight.
I'm not sure where the malfunction was. I shouldn't call it a malfunction. He's still sub 20.
Yeah.
But he tried to duplicate the work of Jason Lentz on the backside of that block. He tried to drive it off, and it just didn't happen.
Lost accuracy a little bit and just misses hits.
But Cassie, you know he wants to have that one over again. Josh Wilson, a good cut, only a hit and a half behind. He's going to grab some big steel points. Fueled by that stock saw win, we think Josh Wilson, we're going to see if he's going to stay alive since we're losing 2 competitors after the next heat. Hey, Cassidy, stick around.
Thanks. Nice job, gentlemen. Both cuts are good.
Real quick. Can we just move in the middle? Yeah, Cassidy, you're staring at that log, shaking your head. You've got the power. What did you miss in that chop?
I don't know, just a little bit of slope, a little bit of accuracy. Yeah, I could have done a lot better there, but it's still okay.
That was a great time.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take it. Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, see ya.
We got Cassidy here, waiting for his official time.
Well, here we go. Here's a great look inside the block of Cassidy Shear. Once again, 1 and 1 goes and chases those points of wood sticking out. I think there was part of it. He didn't quite have the drive on that far side. Does get kind of pinched there, and that's what causes that block to break. And coming up here, this next hit right there is the one that just didn't quite deliver. That axe did not travel through to line up with his other driver. Here's a great shot of it coming up. There's his near. He'll come back far towards us again. And you can see that vertical split. That vertical split came up about an inch short of the driver from the front side. If those two had lined up, he would have cleaned the top of that off.
The official time for Cassidy Shear puts him in third place, a 19.15. Josh Wilson below 20 as well with 19.64.
Standing block final heat, Nate Hodges and Matthew Koger. Koger, he won the underhand. He holds the world record in this event. He's looking for title number 7. Hodges, with all the speed and all the power to win any of these events. And again, so many steel points on the line. Jason Lentz's 15.19, the time to beat.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
These two guys keep showing up next to each other over and over and over again. Matt Koger is out of there. He looks like he's got a springboard pocket in the front of that block. I think he's going for a hero or zero moment, and I don't know if it's going to pay off. Oh my gosh,
Wow.
What a run between these two competitors. 15 seconds just north or south, depending on how you want to look at it. I cannot believe Matt Koger just got away with that. I cannot believe either one of them just pulled that off.
1 up, 1 down, and 3 up. But Hodges staying right with him. I'm not sure Matt expected his axe to go in that far. He had to dig it out. But you guys actually look
Like they're having some fun up there. We're going to watch the replay. Wow, I can't call that. Unofficially, they're giving it to Koger, but they're studying the review right now. We'll see if they're good cuts.
Both cuts are good.
Hey, Matt, was that your plan? You know, you did. We talk about Walt Page's technique of going 1 and 1 and creating a pattern to do 8 in the front. You look like you started that, but the axe went in so deep, you kind of had to call an audible, and you put 5 in the front. How do you adjust?
I think I've done that one other time, and it was basically I went 1 and 1 and ran out of wood.
Now, what does that mean, running out of wood, for people around the world watching?
Yeah, so like you put the 2 hits in together, and then you really pinch it out real small, and it doesn't really give you much room to work on. So I had to really adjust on the fly and just kind of hope.
All right, we're going to see if you took the lead. Thanks very much, Matt. Thank you. 14 seconds.
Matt Koger's going to, well, wait, who's going to win it?
Yeah, Matt Koger did get that heat, a 14.77, just barely edging out Nate Hodges, 14.8. I love how Matt was talking about running out of wood. It's my version of what I said was it looked like he put a springboard pocket in the front of that block. He just had such a small face put in there. He literally, as Dave said, had to call an audible. Watch this finish. It comes down. They're both on the last stroke of the axe. It was just Matt Koger got there slightly before Nate Hodges.
Again, those officials, again, so close. Koger and Hodges, 14-7-7, 14-80. 1-2 in the standing block chop, and incidentally, they stand 1-2 in our steel point standings. All right, this is, as we say, a turning point in the competition here. So we have to shuffle the deck here. All right, and this is the unfortunate time when we have to lose 4 of our competitors here. And so remaining to push on into the second stage of competition, Matt Koger, Nate Hodges, Cassidy Shear, Jason Lentz, Matt Slingerland, Walt Page, Grant Foreman, and Adam Lethko. We say goodbye to these worthy opponents who did so well, fought so hard to get into this 12, and we will look forward to seeing them again next year. Well, don't go away. We still have half of our competition left, if not all of our competitors that we started with. And we will come back with more chopping and sawing. The single buck saw comes out when we return momentarily.
Duluth Trading Company was born from generations who showed us that the only way to live life is to live it hands-on.
To do it the hard way. To take the trail untrodden. To take the damn thing apart, put it back together, and have the world be better for it.
We don't think that the go all in, dig deep, and get your hands dirty spirit exists in everybody.
We know it does. Duluth Trading. Take on life with your own 2 hands.
Let's roll, let's go.
When we work in harmony, anything is possible.
Stihl, the name you love and trust, is at acehardware.com. From chainsaws to edgers, trimmers to blowers, Ace has the Stihl equipment you need. Just pick your power. From gas to battery, Stihl has you covered at acehardware.com.
Big league performance in your backyard with battery power made by Stihl. Our AK home motor system starts at just $199.99. Not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. Find yours at over 10,000 local Stihl dealers.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing next to Ryan Callahan. We're talking Tommy Boy references up here. You're getting me confused. Not Tommy Callahan, Ryan Callahan. Ryan, we had you on earlier. You're associated with the Meat Eater podcast. You're working with Stihl. You're working with conservation. Tell us what's going on in your life. And you actually later you got to make a single buck cut today. You got to work with Adam Lethko making a stock saw cut. We'll talk about that in a second with Timbersports.
Yeah, I mean, my education has been very deep here today with Stihl. I know I'm less of a man than most of the women here. So that's a good place to start, and looking to learn a lot more. I'm the Director of Conservation for Meat Eater, and Stihl has been a phenomenal partner in conservation. We just worked on a great access project in Montana where we're helping to provide more access to hunting and fishing in Montana. On top of that, I've worked with Stihl with their Hearts of Stihl program, which is an incredible program where state parks can apply for scholarships. This year, they're giving out 6 $20,000 scholarships for environmental rehab. We planted a bunch of trees in a bunch of fire-affected state parks last year. And if you know conservation, a lot of conservation has to do with timber, habitat, That makes for happy wildlife, happy trails, and Stihl's just been a phenomenal partner. I'm incredibly fortunate to work with him.
That's great. Hey, tell us about your experience running a single buck with Mark Boquin. 300-pound, best single bucker in the world. It's got to be an honor being on the stage, trying that out from one of the best.
You know, one of the most impressive things here is a lot of times this looks like sheer power, but there's a lot of sheer brain power that goes in this. Folks have a strategy, they play through it, they adjust, they know their angles, they know their gaps, they know the wood. These are educated people, and they are so focused. It's humbling to be around them. It's a solo sport out here, but behind the curtain, these people are team players. They're pushing each other. They're competing, but they want to see each other do better, and it's a really cool thing to be around.
You tried out the stock saw. If you were on the United States Timber Sports team, which event would you rather do, the single buck or the stock saw?
At this point in my physicality, I would say the stock saw. I would like to move up to the single buck.
Yeah, me too. Thanks very much for your time. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Ryan Callahan. Coming up next is the single buck cut. Take your luck for what you're about to see.
My name is Jason Lentz. I am 36 years old, and I'm from Diana, West Virginia. Diana is in the middle of West Virginia, close to the geographical center in the mountains, about an hour and a half north of Charleston. There's no cell phone service here where I live. Quiet, peaceful, deer in my backyard about every day, turkeys. It's pretty country. Diana is a really small town. I have a church that I live beside, an elementary school, which is our community center now, and a little diner about a mile up the road where you can go to Webster Springs or to Holly River State Park. I run into people that I've known my entire life, kids I went to school with, parents. It's a pretty tight-knit community. Everybody that I see at the diner or around the community, they always ask me what the next competition is, what my next journey is. My mother's side of the family, the Cools, own a farm just about a mile down the road. It's been in the family since 1826, I believe. Years ago, the Webster County Wood Chopping Festival, it was started here in Diana. My great-grandfather on my mother's side actually was an auctioneer and started the competition. I come from the longest living name in the sport in the United States. I'm a fourth-generation competitor, dating back from the early 30s. My great-grandfather, grandfather, dad, now me.
3, 2, 1, go!
So is running through this block. Oh my God. Jason Lentz set up an impressive time. Jason seemed focused, seemed motivated. Quick to the wood is Jason Lentz.
Sports in my blood. My dad, he's known as the king of lumberjacks. He's pretty much dominated the sport in the early 80s.
Melman's going for the drive already.
He's an 18-time world champion, won the Sydney world title, won the single buck down there 5 times, so he holds 6 world title events, which is the most coveted competition in the world. That was the 2021 U.S. champion.
The 2021 U.S. Stihl Timbersports champion, Jason Lentz!
I got 6-time Stihl Timbersports champion. They call you the king. Your son just won his first Timber Sports title. How you feeling, buddy?
Oh, I'm feeling so happy for him. You know, he's worked so hard to get to this point, and I'm really happy to see him win the championship today.
Tell us what your father's been doing for you, helping you out.
Oh, he does all my chains. He's been stoning my saws. He's learning to file saws. He edges my axes, helps me train every single day that I want to train. He's good pit crew.
That was the 2021 World Stihl Timbersports champion. I won the U.S. trophy event, first year having it this year.
Your U.S. Stihl Timbersports trophy champion, Jason Lentz!
I ended up second at the World Championships. So, yeah, just trying to live the dream.
My name is Matt Koger. I'm 35 years old and I'm from Grafton, West Virginia. I've won the Stihl Timbersports national title 6 times in a row.
U.S. Stihl Timbersports champion, Matt Koger!
Silver medalist at the World Championships 3 times. I've won the World Trophy event and I'm also a record holder in that event now, as well as a world record holder in the standing block.
Look for a time better than 12:33. Let's see if we can make it. Take it, boy! Oh my world record! Gets the world record by a bullet with an 11.31 after the adjustment. An amazing hit on that block from Matthew Kogar.
And I have several national records in my name.
Wow.
A really common question I get asked is, there's all these other sports, why in the world would you do timber sports? And I honestly can't tell you other than just I love the roots of it and it's in my blood and that's kind of just what I like to do, and it's definitely been a journey.
These guys want that title. Oh, Matt Koger.
To do what I do, like getting up in the morning, going, working out, working to get the timber in to train on, it all adds up. I think that's the whole crux of the whole thing is you got to be disciplined enough to do what you do, and you're not going to win without that discipline or consistency. So this season, I've been trying to focus a little bit more on skill set training. Been working really hard with like conditioning and stuff like that. Been doing a little bit of PT work on my low back area. 23 years of doing this kind of wears on you a little bit. Trying to create a little bit of a longevity so I can continue doing the sport that I love. You got to be fit. You got to have the skills, and so really I'm just trying to stay on top of that and do the best I can to build that in as a good foundation. A lot of my success does come from like that mindset of I'm only there to compete against myself. It's me versus the wood. That's my own mantra. But there's something that really drives me to basically like say, no, I'm still the top dog. You know, like I laid down a world record cut at our national trophy. I did that for a reason.
What a cut by Matt Koger!
Stihl, the name you love and trust, is at acehardware.com. From chainsaws to edgers, trimmers to blowers, Ace has the Stihl equipment you need. Just pick your power. From gas to battery, Stihl has you covered at acehardware.com.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local Stihl dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Not everyone can say that, but we can. Made in America. Real Stihl. Find yours.
Duluth Trading Company was born from generations who showed us that the only way to live life is to live it hands-on.
To do it the hard way. To take the trail untrodden. To take the damn thing apart, put it back together, and have the world be better for it.
We don't think that the go all in, dig deep, and get your hands dirty spirit exists in everybody.
We know it does. Duluth Trading. Take on life with your own 2 hands.
Let's roll, let's go.
When we work in harmony, anything is possible.
The 2-meter-long cross-cut saw used for the single buck discipline is made especially for competition. A series of consistently patterned 10-centimeter-long teeth are cut with a laser on one side of the saw and then hand-sharpened. Saw teeth are divided into 2 types, cutters and rakers, just like on the old-school saws. The saw weighs about 5 kilos and its base price starts at around 1,500 euros. single buck. The single buck is a one-man saw about 2 meters long. With this, the athletes have to cut off a complete disc of a 46-centimeter thick wooden block. The perfect interplay between rhythm and strength is the key to success.
Well, we've reduced the field down to 8 competitors. Let's bring them out on the single buck. First heat is Adam Lethgo and Grant Foreman. Grant Foreman was just dominating the single buck a year ago here in Little Rock. Those single buck points propelling him into the final round. Adam Lethgo is so strong. Just watch him throw his whole body into the single buck. And this will be a very close race. Adam Lethgo showing the ability to win almost any event. But Foreman has just been coming on strong lately. The higher in the timber sports ranks he gets, the more confidence. He's running a 3-cutter saw. These are $3,000 a piece, each one of these saws. I call it a 3-cutter. There's 3 cutting teeth, and then a cleaning raker, and then the pattern repeats itself the entire length of that 6'3" crosscut saw.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Competitors are bringing out their saws pre-oiled now. That's a new thing that's come to play in the past couple years. Adam Lethgo wearing a nitro glove to keep the oil off his hands, but I think it was making his hands sweaty. Grant Foreman is going to run away with this heat, but Lethgo is, I shouldn't say run away. Grant Foreman's going to take this heat, but not by much. Adam Lethgo drives off about a push and a half behind.
Lethgo only a half stroke behind.
The push and the pull, we count that as one full stroke. Just a half a stroke, one push stroke is all that separated Lethgo and Foreman. Watch Grant Foreman in this replay. Once he hits the big wood, he's going to use all that power. It's a small wood. It's only supporting that 15-pound saw and a few inches of wood. Very difficult. He made it look easy.
Both cuts are good.
Get him while he's smiling up here. Says, yeah, that's my favorite event. Why is single buck your favorite event?
I don't know. It's kind of a blend of athleticism. My length obviously helps me a little bit, but it's part equipment, part technique, and it really forces you to study both the wood, the saw, the log. You've got to have everything matched up. Today, it wasn't quite as aggressive a saw that I needed, but I got it done.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Here's a look at that cut from Grant Foreman through the top of the log, and as we mention often, you're not cutting a consistent amount of wood the whole way down through there. Small timber, big timber, and now back to small timber at the bottom. Watch for some guys to come unglued in the bottom of this log. You end up with a tremendous amount of weight on a small amount of timber, and that's when the chaos can ensue.
Official time for Grant Foreman of 12.93, and for Lethgo right behind with the 13.54.
Second heat of the single buck, Walt Page and Matthew Slingerland. See Matt Slingerland just measuring his feet. They are giving these athletes 1 minute to put their starter cut in. They let the saw get set in the wood about an inch, technically a 10-inch arc. It gives them the advantage of cutting a dead, straight disc. Conserve wood and for safety of the athlete, especially when you're looking again at $3,000 worth of saws, so many razor cutting, hand filed laser cut teeth, on and on, what it takes to get one of these saws. And the waiting list to get a saw maker to make a saw these days are about 3 years.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Matt Slingerland, when he was cutting the single buck, his dad said, cut like Dave Jewett. And here we're seeing that method. We're seeing that nose come all the way back in there. He's really just shoving off the bottom here. 12.06, showing as an unofficial time for Matt Slingerland. If that holds up anywhere near there, here's our new leader.
Slingerland has been fighting an elbow injury, but put that to the back of his line.
Absolutely exploded in the top of that log. That's the speed that we are so used to when seeing Matt Slingerland. He picked up a lot of time. That's his fastest single buck, I believe, in the timber sports this year.
Both cuts are good.
Matt, it's no secret you're nursing an injury right now. You took a bad spill training early, you hurt the elbow, possibly a microfracture. You have to throw your whole body in that single buck cut. It's impossible for it not to hurt. How did you get through that cut around 12 seconds, sub 12 second time?
Yeah, to get that snap at the end, it is a little tough, but I ran a smoother saw today. Mike East was nice enough to let me borrow his. It's similar to mine, but runs a little smoother. It was a little rough at the top, but just shortened up a bit and got it off, got it done.
Thanks, Matty.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, Matt Slingerland earns himself an 11.92, comes in just sub 12, and it is interesting. He pointed out it's not his saw, it's a Mike Esch saw, and he was not really running at full stroke. He said, I just kind of shortened it up and powered it off. Normally with Matty Slingerland, we'll see the nose of that saw completely disappear into the block. We'll see the handle come down and almost smash into that side of the block. So it did seem like he was shortened up a little bit, not really in full tilt prime form.
Again, that's official time 11.92, sub 12. Matt Slingerland on top. Walt Page with a time of 14.60.
E3 of the single buck, Jason Lentz and Cassidy Shear. Right now, Cassidy, this is totally legal. He's going to put down a foot brace, anchor himself in. He's got 1 minute to put his saw in, measure his feet, put down any brace that he wants, keeps the show moving. But Cassidy, believe me, he trains everything. He's trained this pit crew move, and he's going to anchor his feet right in. He's at the 30, he got 35 seconds. He's doing just fine anyway. Jason Lentz all set in. This will be a very close race. Jason Lentz is so powerful. He's won titles all over the country. Cassidy Shear, hoping to get an interview after this race with him, talking about the equipment that he uses, the equipment that he wants to use in the future, maybe a custom-made saw to suit his technique.
Athletes ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Cassidy Shear bringing a scaffolding system out to the stage to anchor his feet in, and he's making good use of it. Absolutely running that saw magnificently. Jason Lentz, trouble at the top of the block, but looking to power down through the bottom. There it is, Cassidy Shear, 12.5-ish unofficially. It's going to probably nestle him into that second place slot right now. Jason Lentz, I know he's not going to be happy with that cut at the top of that block. He's going to end up settling down probably in the mid-pack range with that cut. That is very atypical for Jason Lentz as he's looking to chase down a follow-up, a sophomore album, if you will, here at the Stihl Timbersports Series.
See the replay right here. Watch, he's going to come off on a pull stroke right there. And Cassidy's worked on that, cutting on the pull, cranking the handle, throwing the pressure into the teeth, knowing how the saw works. Building houses on stage is Cassidy Shear. But we're going to get another interview out of Cassidy. We temporarily lost Jason. In the meantime, we're going to get head judge Rich Hell to make sure these were 2 good cuts. You feel like doing that, Rich?
Both cuts are good.
Cassidy, I don't want to. This is your foot brace. Everybody's seen that. Well, you and I talked before the show. You're running a 6'4" crosscut saw, and you're saying, "Hey, if I can get the saw makers around the world, someone to make me a 6'6" or a 6'8", I'll use every teeth of the saw." What advantage in that? How hard is it to get this equipment?
I mean, no one makes a 6'6", 6'8" saw. I've talked to Brad at KBT. He wants one for himself, so hopefully we can make that happen. I've got good mobility. I've got long, gangly, Gumby arms. I want to pull that big, heavy, long saw. I think I can saw faster with it.
I think you can too. I agree, Cassidy. Thanks for the interview.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at stand number 1. Jason Lentz right off the top. A very tough start for him. He is just rearing back on that saw and trying to just explode off the top of that block, and it didn't pan out. Cassidy Shear, he says he needs more steel, wants more iron in his diet, wants a longer single buck saw. He is absolutely making use of every inch of this one. You see the nose disappear, the handle all the way to the block. I don't know how much longer we can go with these saws, but I'd love to see the experiment happen.
Well, Cassidy Shear with a 12:31 finds himself in second place with 1 heat remaining. Jason Lentz in 5th now. His official time, 14.26.
4th and final heat of the single buck, Nate Hodges and Matthew Koger. Nate Hodges putting a couple foot blocks down, using that 60-second time they get. Matt Koger's got his feet marked out on that carpet ahead of time. He's going to sit that 6'3" saw into the wood. Hodges around 50 seconds left, plenty of time. Matt Koger, he's held the record in this single buck cut, looking to take it again. Held the record back when we are allowed a wedger. The wedger's not allowed nowadays. The saws are sprayed out back, keeping the oil off the stage. But the saws are lubricated. You see these competitors getting the saws exactly where they want them. They count the teeth. They know exactly where they want to start that saw. And it is a science, starting and exploding off of the top of the log with control.
You know, the other thing we talked about a couple of times is these guys are pre-oiling the saws off the stage and then wearing a glove out to handle the saw to keep their hand oil free. But then I see guys use the glove and they're grabbing the handle. Well, that transfers oil. I see other guys wearing nitrile gloves and their hands all sweaty. They're wiping the sweat off their hands. So this is another adjustment period for single buck.
1, go!
And Tommy, there you go. Look at Nate Hodges' back foot. His heel is completely off of that block. He's in a lot better shape than he was yesterday, but I still don't like that setup. Matt Koger, a bit of a slow pace, but look at that saw disappear into the block. It's going to be Hodges, though, coming out with a win in this heat. Both these guys in the mid to high 13s.
Not only did Hodges take that heat, but he has now pushed Koger back a point.
If nobody is between the two of them. It's a lot of calculations going on right now. Kevin and Tommy, you saw what happened right there. Koger really needs that, but Hodges is going to squeeze in there, puts the steel points back, gets a little extra prize money, taking that heat, but could unofficially give the win to Cassidy Shear.
Both cuts are good.
Nate, one of the better cuts I've seen out of you, and it's a big saw, a big 9-inch deep plate. How difficult is it to control at the top and in the bottom in the small wood?
Well, for me, Dave, it's really hard to control that saw. It's absolutely my weakest discipline out of the 6. So anytime I can take one off like that, that was a good cut for me.
Yeah, great speed, great power, great steel points.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Nate.
Thanks, Dave.
We're going to let them get out of here. I know he wants to set up his springboard, so we appreciate the quick interview. Here's the replay.
Well, take a look here. We were talking about Nate Hodges in this carpet foot block setup, and I said I didn't like how the blocks were right in line. Look at his heel. He's got the ball of his foot on that block, but his heel is just kind of floating in space. Better than he did in the qualifiers. He got him pinned down. He had all kinds of crumpled up carpet. He almost went down to his knee. So these guys are learning how to deal with these time constraints, the oiling constraints, and we're going to see a lot of situations, we'll call them, get worked out in the next year.
Nate Hodges' official time for him is a 13.15. It had him in 4th place in the single buck. And for Matt Koger, 6th place with his 13.79. All right, we were halfway to our next turning point in this competition. The next level. Some great single buck action right there. And we've got Nate Hodges atop our total Stihl points. Cumulative leaderboard here. The plot thickens. We'll be right back.
Stihl, the name you love and trust, is at acehardware.com. From chainsaws to edgers, trimmers to blowers, Ace has the Stihl equipment you need. Just pick your power. From gas to battery, Stihl has you covered at acehardware.com.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local Stihl dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Not everyone can say that, but we can. Made in America. Real Stihl. Find yours.
Duluth Trading Company was born from generations who showed us that the only way to live life is to live it hands-on.
To do it the hard way. To take the trail untrodden. To take the damn thing apart, put it back together, and have the world be better for it.
We don't think that the go all in, dig deep, and get your hands dirty spirit exists in everybody.
We know it does. Duluth Trading. Take on life with your own 2 hands.
Let's roll, let's go.
When we work in harmony, anything is possible.
Hey, we got Erin Lavoie. She just won the women's national title, her 2nd national title. Give it up. Well, we're going to get a little bit of a more relaxed interview from Erin. So much pressure during the show to get some words out of you. You won the underhand. You won the standing block. You struggled with the standing block. It's a new event. It only took you 2 years to win it and break the world record. Tell us about your day.
Well, fuck yeah. That was one that I put the most effort into because I was terrible at it. I wasn't confident in it, and that's not fun at all. So that was one of the events that I worked the hardest at, and it's really cool to watch it pay off.
How difficult was it, that final heat of the underhand? You laid down around a 31-second time in the underhand. You had to watch Martha King, and the seconds just crept along, and her hits hit, they stuck, and another one stuck, and you had nothing to do but just sit and watch. What was that like?
Honestly, it was okay. I didn't feel pressured or anything this year. This is the most calm I've ever been in competition. And forever it was, I've got to chase down this person, I have to beat this person, and for the last year of staring at Martha King's face on all of social media of winning last year, you kind of get sucked into, I have to beat Martha, and after a while, it's me and a block of wood and my axe, and I was just calm, and that's what I wanted to do, was to do my best at those events. So watching her backstage, I knew I had a cushion coming into it of even if we tied, I still would have won the tiebreaker because all of my times added together were faster than all of her times added together. So there's a bit of a cushion there. But I just wanted to do really well in that event and finish strong, finish hard. I stuck the axe once or twice. It was not the best I wanted it to be, but I walked away. I watched it backstage, and when it was solidified, it was a pretty cool feeling.
Thanks a lot, Aaron. One more big round of applause for our new national champion, second title, Aaron Lavoie. All right, we got a springboard coming up. For a better idea what you're going to see, take a look.
Springboard simulates the traditional way of felling trees, climbing up over thick roots. First, notches known as pockets are chopped into the log. 2 springboards are then anchored into these pockets. The athlete then climbs up to chop through a 27-centimeter thick block of wood in the fastest time possible.
First heat of the springboard, Adam Lethko and Grant Foreman. Keep an eye on the man on your left, Adam Lethko. Took a spill yesterday off the top board, just showing the dangers of springboard, recovered, fought his way into the final round today. We are looking at double points right now. Double points in the springboard. Adam Lethko with an opportunity to gobble up those steel points, but watch the 4-hit pocket attempt from the top and the bottom. But Grant Foreman been so strong all day. He's going to be looking for some steel points. Not too concerned with Adam Lethko behind him. He's just going to be getting as many points as he can. This will be...
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Lethko and Foreman, literally 1 point separates them. Foreman on top, Lethko to the back. Lethko, though, first up on that board. Very quick border. Of course, we've got to remind you, in the qualifying rounds, in the semifinals, just last round, he had, wow, that was a quick settle, Tommy. That got both of our attention.
Oh, that's not looking, not again. Wow.
Yeah, well, that's not even an again thing, because yesterday it was a chip that hung in there. Today just didn't have the depth, didn't have the conditions right on that pocket. He's going to have to come back. I want to remind everybody, though, he came back after a fall yesterday and still finished third overall in the springboard. Grant Foreman's got a great top board set. That's, if you could draw a textbook image, that would be it. We can use that one. Lethko's board still sagging away, just robbing horsepower. For a guy who's not at 100% between the shoulder and wrist from yesterday, this is just robbing energy, robbing time. We're past the 1 minute mark. Foreman looking to slash off. One more near, there it is, right in the middle actually, took it off. And there you see Lethko driving his off as well.
Well, we have seen everything this weekend. We've seen crashes, we've seen national records, we've seen world records. Adam Lethko getting some of his bad chops out of the way, and God help the field when he wakes up and starts fixing those pockets and staying on the board. He will not be beat. This is still, in my mind, the fastest springboard cutter on the left, but you have to risk it some days. He had a beautiful bottom 4-hit pocket. The 4-hit pocket on the top gave way. Watch the replay. There's Lethko. He had to fix that pocket, but it just gave way. This is after he ascended that pole. But sometimes when you get in a slump, it just follows you around. But Grant Foreman, well, you got to give him a lot of credit. He didn't climb as fast, but he just absolutely maximized his ability. Cut the log beautiful up top. Just waiting on Rich Hallett.
Both cuts are good.
Maybe. Adam, a couple tumbles, 2 days in a row. The good news is you're fine. No injuries. You were laughing when you came down sometimes. If things are going to go bad, let them go bad in one weekend, pick up the pieces next weekend. What happened on that top pocket?
The trees are really soft, and the first hit I put in it, the tree slabbed down, and I thought I dug in deep enough underneath it that it wouldn't be a problem, but the slab ended up being a lot thicker than I thought, and the whole bottom of the pocket gave way. Something I know slightly better about, usually I train for, and this year obviously I spent a lot more time cutting underhand blocks than my pockets. You'll probably see me go back to pockets next year, get back on top of my game in this tree.
I know you're a mechanic making these springboards. I'm going to just take your board here. Hopefully the camera can zoom in on this. A lot of these clips are made, and then you've done some modification on your own to make them dig a little deeper in the back of the pocket. Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. Every competitor somewhat cuts their pockets differently, and the goal is to make the shoe fit the pocket. And so I've helped a lot of competitors out with that. I think all but probably 2 guys that are here today, I did their clips so that it would speed them up in the springboard. I always figured it'd be better to have them on the same playing field and make me try harder.
If we don't see you in the hot saw, we'll see you again next year. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Well, here's a look at that top board from Adam Lethko. You'll see 2 things happening simultaneously. Obviously, Adam is absolutely right. The bottom of that pocket, you'll see it kind of do an accordion fracture. It breaks away. When that makes the board sag down right here, you'll see the grain separate at the top of the pocket, and the top of that tree actually starts to split away as well. So losing the bottom of that hole causes that board to tip. It causes a leverage action and pulls that top of that pocket away from the tree. He's got to work in deeper than that split so he can have a solid board hole. Grant Foreman, again, just a classic, perfect board set, great level board set, clean chop on the top. The neatness award to Grant Foreman in that heat by all measures.
Well, the Neatness Award and an official time of 1:07.73 for Grant Foreman, currently in the top spot in springboard. Adam Lethko's time, 1:10.73.
Springboard, second heat. Walt Page and Matt Slingerland. Well, 1:07, the time to beat by Grant Foreman. Walt Page, one of the fastest springboarders. He always does what Adam Lethko does. He cuts 4 in the bottom, 4 in the top. Will he make some adjustments after what he just witnessed with Lethko? He knows a slight advantage now of being a higher rank. You get to watch the competitor prior cut that pole. He's going to take a look at that pole, maybe rethink his strategy, go for 6 in the top. Matty Slingerland, watch when he switches to his backhand, just as powerful on the front.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Walt Page is down the points list a bit, but Matt Slingerland is definitely part of the conversation. 36 points coming into the springboard with Nate Hodges, our points leader, having 38. Double points here in round 2. Matty Slingerland can easily reel him in with a good springboard cut. Speaking of good springboard cuts, Walt Page says, don't call me out of this thing yet. What a great pair of board sets. And look at the progress Walt Page has in over top of Matt Slingerland in the front side of this log. He's also looking to dethrone Grant Foreman for the Neatness Award. Great board set, great looking chop as he turns to the backside and switch hits his way through the back of this block. One more blow is going to do it. What a run! 43 seconds showing on the board for Walt Page.
What a cut. Boy, he was on world record pace with those patented 4-hit pockets, and they held Slingerland looking at his top board right now, thinking that could have been better, maybe agreeing with Lethko that it was a soft pull, let the board down a little bit. Walt Page making it look easy, and this is the most difficult event in timber sports. You got some Walt Page fans in the crowd. Walt Page almost cutting that time to beat in half. We're going to get an official time in a second. Well, what a great cut by the man from Toll House, California.
Both cuts are good.
Well, am I right that you got 4 hits in the bottom, 4 in the top? And if so, did it affect you at all watching Lethko accomplish the same feat but failing on that top pocket?
No, it didn't affect me. I knew that those were good pockets. There was no thought about that.
You were on world record pace hitting the block in under 20 seconds. You were halfway through in about 25 seconds. What were you thinking? Were you chasing records, chasing points, or just kind of having some fun up there?
I was just having fun. That was a nice piece of wood. I just like to take this opportunity, say hi to my wife, Caitlin, up watching. Hi to my daughter, Claire, back home. Love you guys.
Thanks, Walt.
Well, here's another look at that block at the top for Walt Page. As Dave mentioned, he was there in less than 20 seconds and began his task. You see Matt Slinger in the background just getting up on that second board, and Walt is well into the front side of this log. You watch as he turns. A lot of these competitors are slash-handed cutters where they're putting only downward blows in. Walt Page, along with Matt Slinger, they're both accomplished switch-handed cutters, and Walt, just looking for that last fiber, has to reach around just a little bit further. Very low 40-second times. Walt Page officially 42.69 in that run.
Well, Walt Page in his element for sure with that super time of 42.69. Matt Slingerland 59.77. Still plenty more good springboard cutters to come, but that is a great move by Walt Page. Two heats, in fact, of springboard yet to go. Again, our points are doubled, and after the springboard chop, we will lose two more of our competitors. So a big turning point is on the way. Plenty more to come.
Let's roll, let's go.
When we work in harmony, anything is possible.
Big league performance in your backyard with battery power made by Stihl. Our AK home motor system starts at just $199.99. Not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. Find yours at over 10,000 local Stihl dealers.
Stihl, the name you love and trust, is at acehardware.com. From chainsaws to edgers, trimmers to blowers, Ace has the Stihl equipment you need. Just pick your power. From gas to battery, Stihl has you covered at acehardware.com.
Duluth Trading Company was born from generations who showed us that the only way to live life is to live it hands-on.
To do it the hard way. To take the trail untrodden. To take the damn thing apart, put it back together, and have the world be better for it.
We don't think that the go all in, dig deep, and get your hands dirty spirit exists in everybody.
We know it does. Duluth Trading. Take on life with your own two hands.
Halfway through our fifth discipline there are our overall Stihl point standings right now. Still transiting through the springboard chop, but Matt Slingerland on top at the moment. Grant Foreman in second place. Nate Hodges, who has yet to chop, in third. Walt Page putting up a good time there. He's in fourth. Cassidy Shear yet to go. Adam Lethko, Matt Koger yet to chop as well. Jason Lentz will chop in this next heat. And that is our 8 at this point right now.
Third heat of the springboard. Give it up for Jason Lentz and Cassidy Shear. .42.69 the time to beat. He was only 5 seconds off the world record, the national record rather. Jason Lentz, I'd give him the power advantage here, but Cassidy Shear, the ability to ascend these trees. He's so athletic. He's been a tree climber. He's climbed these 90-foot poles. Has no fear of the height, but he gets up to that top board incredibly fast. Watch these competitors in the race to the top. And they got to decide if they're going to chase that time of Walt Page, or are they going to just grab the Stihl points that they can. Nevertheless, it's going to be incredibly fast. Keep a close eye on Shear. He's been on fire in the springboard lately.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Well, this is go time for Jason Lentz, our current reigning champion. He is lagging behind in terms of overall Stihl points. There's a lot of opportunity to make it up as we're at double points now, triple points in the hot saw, but still, he's got to grab every point that he can. Cassidy Shear is poised very well to regain his throne as a Stihl champion along the way, as is Matty Slingerland, Nate Hodges, Matt Coker. So a lot of guys are lining up at the trough right now. Here comes Cassidy Shear in that block at the top. Huge windmilling swings. Jason Lentz, that amazing power in the standing block, now attempting to translate that to the springboard. Cassidy Shear around to the backside with his patented windmill swing. 2, 3 down blows. Draws a chip out. There it is. 4 hits off. Cassidy Shear, 46 seconds. Jason Lentz right on his heels.
Less than 2 seconds between them. Jason Lentz actually gained ground on Shear on the top board. Lentz was behind on the climb. Shear took an enormous lead, and you're going to see in the back where Cassidy lost a little bit of time. It should come off right here, and it does not. He misses the swing that lost him 1.5 seconds. So it's the time to pull the axe out of the wood. He's looking at the time, not happy, knowing he could go faster. And Jason Lentz had gained ground, but it wasn't enough to grab some points, some Stihl points going into this final event, the hot saw. And we're going to get a quick decision by Rich Hallett at the decision zone from Rich Hallett.
Both cuts are good.
They said, hey, I got a $10,000 hot saw out back. I've got to warm that up in case I'm going to advance. So they're out of here. We're all on our own. You and me, Tommy, and Kevin Holtz. It's just us. Yeah, don't point at you. Yeah, you got to talk. What did you see? Tell me what you saw in that heat.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I just saw a great cut by Cassidy Shear. I thought it was terrific, and you're right. Jason gained on him tremendously in the final moments of that one.
Absolutely, Tommy. I'm not sure if the crowd could hear you on that. We lost the house system on you, but this is Cassidy Shear. He had an absolute perfect board. Just looking into it, you can't see his upslope, but he has some of the steepest upslope. But you have to compensate with a little flatter on the down, otherwise you'll come to a V, and the axe just will not penetrate. And what happens, you're going to see it right here. This is like coming into a V right here. It does nothing. It's a waste of time. You have to pull the axe out. And it's not just a 1 second hit, it's the half a second digging the axe out of the wood, Tommy.
Yeah, could have very well been sub 45, but for that.
Well, Dave, even on that correction hit, from that angle, you can see that corrected hit where he stepped it back up. That was barely high enough. The top of that block still just kind of popped off there like a cork.
And there are your results. Now still Walt Page on top. Cassidy Shear, a little bit. Not as much of a reduction with the official as I thought, 48.15, but still it has him in second place. And Jason Lentz right behind with 49.65. Good effort by Jason Lentz, especially at the end of his springboard.
Now, I noticed Kevin and Tommy, a lot of times it's the older competitors tend to dominate the springboard. It's more of a experience, more of a relaxing hit. Usually a relaxing hit is more powerful is more accurate.
Yeah, experience definitely plays into this springboard event, and just kind of that mental acuity. We've referenced Walt Page multiple times. He's always just kind of been that calm, cool, collected mentality, and that just plays into the springboard discipline. I think the biggest thing, things like springboard and the hot saw, there are so many variables. There are so many pieces to unpack that you've got to have the mental wherewithal. You've got to have that calmness just to get all of those pieces to settle into place and put together a good cut.
Yeah, you get the impression that physically it's more to juggle with the springboard, but mentally, when we get into the final discipline, the hot saw, the sound, the fury, the volatility can really just get inside your head.
Yeah, and when it comes together, it looks like artistry. Let me show you. Here's Nate Hodges. Watch him, he's on the far ground. Matt Slinger put up a great cut here as well, but this is the record-setting run from Nate Hodges. You see we're at the 7-second mark. He's setting that second board. Great looking second board hole, slams it all the way to the back. Lost a little bit of time there with that little hand slap and jumping up on, but watch him wade into this block, just running a shovel of an axe, spans the axe well, clears out that far wood. Gonna put in a round of drivers here. One more, he's got no more cuttable wood, doesn't even turn his feet, gets around to this backside, slashing it off. That time a 37.52 for a new springboard record. Look at the fluidity just from transitioning from cutting the pocket to setting the axe, especially on that first board. It was so seamless. He knew he was going to get it in 4 hits, rolled the axe directly back up into the pole, and here once again the cut at the top, spanning the axe so well, clearing out that face, getting it down to 0 cuttable wood left.
It's funny, Kevin and Tommy, I see where he could have gained time in that. He set that top board and gave it a push down. A lot of the more experienced competitors say, if the board's in the back, you don't have to test it, just jump up. So that is what, 3/4 of a second he lost?
Oh, easily, easily.
Speak of the devil, 4th and final heat of the springboard, Nate Hodges and Matthew Koger. I was at a tournament in West Virginia earlier this year, and Matt Koger got the best of Nate Hodges, just annihilating the field in the springboard. Can he repeat it in the finals? In Matt Koger's quarterfinal round, he had to come down from his top board, fixed it, went back up, and still won the springboard in the quarterfinal Mid-Atlantic region. Once again, 42.69, time to beat.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
These two have been smashing heads all day long, and here we go one more time. 2 points separating them. Hodges leading coming into this. Koger just 2 points behind him. Koger really wants that 7th title. Hodges really wants that 1st title. Right now it's advantage Koger. There was a little bit of trash in the back of that pocket. I'm curious if that's going to make the board sag. It is making the board sag a little bit. Hodges, though, look at him just pepper hits into the front of that block. Glad to see that chip clear out there for Hodges, so he's got a cleaner cut. Things are getting a little messy there for him. Matt Koger has to do a little housekeeping on his board as a chip down there. He is way low, but he pops the cork on it. 39-second run showing for Matt Koger. Right when he needed it the most, Matt Koger steps up and grabs a fistful of Stihl overall points.
Pockets. The top pocket had a chip laying in the back of it.
And he took the gamble of sweeping that chip away. Had that not come out, either he would have had to hit it again or put the board in and risk what happened to Adam Lethko, risk that board popping out. Right there, that sweep, and that chip came out. Kevin and Tommy, you saw it. If that chip didn't discharge, he'd have been in trouble.
Nice job, gentlemen. Both cuts are good.
Matt, most likely you're going to have to get your hot saw ready. We'll do this quick. Great boards, 4 and 4. A big guy like you, in the past, you couldn't stand on a 4-hit pocket. You had to sweep that chip out. What would have happened had you not been able to get that chip out of the top pocket?
Oh, there's always a chance that the board can't go all the way to the back of the pocket, and that's the best place for it. And if it's not clear and you're too far out, it can sag, and you get something that happens like what happened to Adam Lethko.
When you have Adam Lethko, you have Walt Page, Nate Hodges, Jason Lynch. They're so fast. Do you tell yourself, I have to learn to go faster? I've got to find someone to help me in this sport. Do you find it to yourself? Do you reach out to your dad? Do you reach out to other competitors? How do I go faster in the springboard?
Yeah, we're all looking for those like little tiny seconds, and I think it's great that it's an awesome field of athletes that we have, and we all push each other, and I think it's really great for our sport in the USA.
Great cut, Matt.
Thank you, sir.
Here's another look at that top pocket from Matt Koger, going for the 4-hit, flicks it, doesn't clean it out. There's a wall of wood back there. He gives the old finger broom, pushes that chip out to the side. There's a lot of ways that can go wrong. Number one, as he pointed out, that doesn't let the board go all the way to the back of the hole. Number two, let's say it does go all the way to the back of the hole. That chip could end up on top of his clip, on top of his shoe. That means that edge doesn't get to bite into the top of the pocket. Number three, yeah, there's more. That chip could end up underneath the shoe. That little lip of wood is not enough to support that weight. It can crush down, and you'll see the board slowly sag. So he got it cleaned out good enough, got it set to the back, avoided a disaster, picked up a great time. Remember, coming into this discipline, he was 2 points behind Nate Hodges. He is now 2 points ahead of Nate Hodges.
Again, that official time for Matt Koger, 38.80. Nate Hodges, 47.10. So Matt Koger on top. Walt Page sneaks in between the two in second place. Cassidy Shear in number 4. Jason Lentz, Matt Slingerland, Grant Foreman, and Adam Lethko round out our top 8. All right, and now it is time to make our last transition of the day with regard to our roster of competitors here as we shuffle the deck.
And Tommy, as we're shuffling, look at that. Walt Page was at the bottom of the pile. He was our 8th place rank coming in. He was a top finisher in that springboard. Number 1, that got him to the 5th place slot, so he gets to advance to round 3. That's huge in and of itself. But as you pointed out in our springboard results, Walt Page slipped into that second place slot. That grabbed major points away from Nate Hodges and put that buffer between Koger and Hodges. So Walt Page made a great friend in one competitor, may have made a bit of an enemy, may have to buy a beer back there for another competitor, really situated himself to play a point spoiler.
Well, we have to say goodbye to 2 great competitors, Jason Lentz, our defending champion, and Adam Lethko. We proceed on with 6 to all of the craziness, all of the uncertainty, the unpredictability of the hot saw, the big upsetter. It's on the way when we come back.
Stihl, the name you love and trust, is at acehardware.com. From chainsaws to edgers, trimmers to blowers, Ace has the Stihl equipment you need. Just pick your power. From gas to battery, Stihl has you covered at acehardware.com.
Duluth Trading Company was born from generations who showed us that the only way to live life is to live it hands-on.
To do it the hard way. To take the trail untrodden. To take the damn thing apart, put it back together, and have the world be better for it.
We don't think that the go all in, dig deep, and get your hands dirty spirit exists in everybody.
We know it does. Duluth Trading. Take on life with your own 2 hands.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local Stihl dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Not everyone can say that, but we can. Made in America. Real Stihl. Find yours.
Let's roll, let's go.
When we work in harmony, anything is possible.
Warm up your saw. Athlete, ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
This is the one and only discipline where the athletes are alone on stage.
Yeah, probably the most important event, but yeah, also the most frustrating.
These saws are so incredibly powerful and dangerous.
Usually the hot saw is the slider.
Hot saw, hot saw.
I can't describe to you when we're out there under pressure.
Saw starts well, first disc looks solid, cut is good.
You know, you're always ending the competition on a hot saw, so you know where you're going to be at when you finish. So you're either at a real big high or just is what it is.
Nice clean cut, easy, relaxed.
Der Hot Saw ist für mich die geilste Disziplin der Welt.
5, 6, 8, Robert After, 3 on the deck.
Hot saw is a love-hate for me. I honestly don't get that much enjoyment out of it. I'm not a motorhead. I swallow my pills and eat it.
Once the competition comes, anything can happen. Oh no, a false start by Sterling Hart. What a disaster.
Yeah, it was a disappointment for me. Happens though, it's part of competing.
I saw there's 3 good discs there, but then let that nose come right up underneath the crossover line.
Unfortunately, a disqualification.
It all relies on the hot saw.
If you have bad luck or if you did wrong, it's sport, just your experience.
Oh my goodness, what an absolute disaster. The chain came off.
I was not disappointed because everybody see that I can be with the guys in front.
A bit of a disaster, so it was just operator error, and I didn't perform as well as I would have liked to.
Yeah, it's the make or break event, you know.
I think you love it and you hate it.
Weltrekord wollte ich schneiden, das war immer mein Ziel schon seit Jahren. Und das jetzt hier bei der DM zu machen, natürlich so grandios, kann man eigentlich gar nicht besser schreiben, das Buch, und bin natürlich super glücklich.
Try to make 3 good cuts and no disqualification.
The hot saw is where it's all won, so that's the best event.
We are back. Let's take another look at our overall standings as we head into the final discipline of the day, the hot saw. We are down to 6 competitors. And there they are right there. Coker, Hodges, Shear, Slingerland, Page, and Foreman. A 2-point lead, Matt Coker over Nate Hodges. Cassidy Shear is 3 points behind Hodges, Slingerland, Page, and Foreman. But remember, the points now have triple value right now, so even more volatility, more dynamics up and down that leaderboard. A single move can do you something amazing. And of course, we always expect mishaps in terms of getting a time or not, getting 3 complete discs or not. Very, very common in the hot saw. So man, oh man, we're in for a wild one. 3 heats in the hot saw. That's what we have left to settle this competition.
Here we go, first heat of the hot saw on his own, Grant Foreman. So don't be afraid to cheer them on. They got 1 minute to get their saw ready. They'll be giving a warm-up time. So much on the line here, triple points in the hot saw, 6 inches of wood. To make a down, up, down, 3 complete discs is what we're looking for. You're looking at about 60 horsepower, 200 mile an hour chain speed. If you have sensitive ears or children in the crowd, might want to cover up.
Warm up your saw.
Grant Foreman going with a fast warm-up. They warmed him up out back, said he doesn't want to overheat it. We're going to let him go.
Well, Tommy, looking down the list of names here, I'm not surprised at a bunch of them. There are some surprises, though. Matt Coker, Nate Hodges, Cassidy Shear, Matt Slingerland. Those are some of my big picks. I would expect to see them. Jason Lentz, a just shocking absence from this round 3. And then it was a matter of who else was going to fit in, who's going to come in there and play the spoiler. Good on Grant Foreman. He has just been a juggernaut in this sport the past few years.
Athlete ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Hesitation at the top, a little lip. I think he's going the safe route, not the fast route. There it is, Grant Foreman, an 7.86 showing as his unofficial time. That was not a full tilt, full out run from Grant Foreman. He knows it's triple points. He might be banking on some DQs along the way, but he did lift between cuts. It was not just a wide open, full tilt, full send for Grant Foreman.
Yet we have seen times when 3 complete discs and a time laid down fast or not can serve you very, very well in the final moments of this competition.
Yeah, on a day we've seen 2 DQs in the stock saw.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not discount that.
Boy.
You're in the hot seat, buddy. I get to chat with you. You can relax, kick your feet up. What's going on? Refresh my memory. Did you run your hot saw in the finals last year? Did you make it this far?
I did not. I got cut after the first 3 events last year. So, matter of fact, this morning I didn't even warm up my hot saw, as bad as that is. But made some good progress into single buck and had my best springboard. So I snuck in and got it fired up. She ran good. I wasn't, too crazy with it. Just tried to get 3 on the deck.
You got the spotlight on you. All the competitors are watching you. You're being viewed around the world. What's the experience like for you today?
It's just been amazing. I'm not sure how it could end any better than this.
Thanks, Adam. Sit back and watch. Grant, sorry, buddy.
Well, Tommy, you and I were talking about names and places and positions and whatever, and I mentioned this man right here that's going to be coming up as really playing a potential spoiler when we get to the end of this event. And here's another chance, because he got his way in through the springboard, here's another chance for him to play points spoiler in our championship round here.
And I said 3 heats. Of course, we're doing 6 heats. We're taking them 1 at a time. We have the time to do it. That allows us to put someone in the hot seat, which is another way to sort of ratchet up the tension a little bit here and enjoy the drama. As the 6 get down to the final 1. And when that happens, we will have our winner, our champion.
Second heat of the hot saw, Walt Page. Coming all the way from Toll House, California. Walt Page earned his way in here with that amazing 43-second springboard chop we just saw. Walt Page knows what he's doing in this hot saw. Watch the speed. He's going to bring 7.59 the time to beat. And Kevin and Tommy, you may have to help me with the points if he can, what he needs. If it'll put him in the hot seat points-wise, but regardless, Grant Foreman is going to relax for another few seconds.
Warm up your saw.
I'm a little concerned there, Tommy. I see some kind of issue on the carburetor. I'm not sure if it's just overflow that I saw coming out of there, but there was definitely some kind of issue going on in that carburetor. You notice that Walt Page, though, has wisely updated his lumberjack fashion. Today, the belly band. Yesterday, no belly band, shirt into carburetor.
All right.
Athlete ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Page, there it is. Yeah, I had a bad feeling about that. I saw during the warm-up period there was some kind of fuel issue on the crowd side of that carburetor, and that saw just did not sound right. Yesterday we were blaming it with his shirt getting sucked into the carburetor. I'm thinking there's more going on to it than that.
Saw just did not want to respond. Grant Foreman is a seating suspicion. He's going to stick around for a little bit longer in the hot seat here. We're going to wait to see what Rich Hallett says about those 3 cuts. Looks like the line is remaining potentially 3 clean discs.
Yeah, Walt Page doing a great job limping that saw through the cuts,
again, Walt
salvaging
Page,
3 cuts.
The saws don't want to run.
But when he was in his warm-up period, you could already see fuel issues on the stage or crowd side of that saw. I want to say like the driver's side, but it's all the driver's side.
Hey, you know, when I'm listening to Kevin and Tommy talk about the hot saw, you know a lot about the mechanics of the hot saw. Do you know what happens with his saw? Is that carburation problem, and how do you fix it?
Yeah, it sounded like it was surging on fuel, so probably in the carburetor, could be in the diaphragm. Just had a surge in fuel there that got more air, wound it up, and then it was catching up with itself. So
yeah, he walked off his saw. I think you actually smell the fuel, that unburned fuel, and you have to make adjustments. And if that happened with your saw, is that something you can fix, or do you have to search down a mechanic?
that's something that I can fix. Now you get deeper into the saw, that's something that's got to be sent off to it.
Thanks. Thanks, Grant.
Thanks.
Well, and there you can see it. Look at the fuel just discharging out the side of that carburetor. I don't know if that's a hole in the line. I don't know if that's an overflow tube. I can't see where it's coming from, but it was evident in the warm-up. I kind of made mention like, uh-oh, I don't like the looks of that. There you can see it again, a little spritz of fuel. Saw falls on its face. He blips it back to life. A spritz of fuel comes out. So there is some sort of pressure issue, overflow issue, torn diaphragm, something going on in that carburetor. The wrong time for a mechanical breakdown for Walt Page.
Disappointing that time. I'm 988. 15 points versus 18 points for Grant Foreman now. So Walt Page moves on. Grant Foreman remains in the hot seat.
One more big round of applause from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, Maddie Slingerland. Maddie Slingerland again looking for that 7.59. He ran his saw in the semifinal rounds, did not seem to have any mechanical problems. It's all going to be left up to him. But he's a super technician, just like running the stock saw. He trains the speed to the wood, the speed on the exchange from the down cut to the up cut to the down cut. Again, getting all his preparations in order.
Warm up your saw.
Well, Maddie's got a fuel container right there, a little shot into the carburetor. Usually does the job.
A little bit of a discouraging start for Matt Slingerland. It takes
30
3
seconds.
pulls to get that saw started. They have a very limited amount of time, 60 seconds to do all their preparations, and he spent a good amount of time just getting that saw together. This really is a NASA launch procedure. Decompression valves, oilers, fuel, ignition. We've got to make sure we've got everything in play, and he spent up a good amount of that time just getting the saw to fire.
Athlete ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Now it's time for full send. No lift off the throttle, all go. Matt Slingerland puts 3 on the stage, showing a 5.17 on the board.
Maddie Slingerland, take a bow. What a day. Fighting back.
What a way to end the day for Matt Slingerland. Takes him 3 pulls to get that saw fired in the warm-up. The nerves, I've been in that situation so many times, and you hope that that gremlin is gone.
Brought it to life, and what the composure, the fight-back ability of Maddie Slingerland.
Nice job. Your cut was good.
Well, Grant Foreman rises and turns over the hot seat.
Here we go again, buddy. What a cut, Matty. You absolutely attacked it. You had nothing to lose. Final event of the day. Talk us through that hot saw. I guarantee you're not feeling that injured elbow right now, but you're smiling.
Yeah, I was as scared as all you guys for me, but it worked out.
Tell us what happened when you got the start. Once you hit that initial disc, it seemed like it was just off to the races from there.
Yeah, I feel like I've trained it enough now that it feels pretty automatic to me. My chains are just going crazy good, Melvin Lentz, and of course that saw is just a ripper, thanks to Jerry Gingras. I couldn't ask for better equipment, and you know, it's easy to run when it's good like that. So,
tell us what your heartbeat was doing when you pulled it and it didn't fire. Are you used to that, having to give it a shot in the carburetor?
That has never happened to me in a race, Dave, not for a long time. I'm just glad when I gave it that shot and put the throttle lock on that it started, because I have no clue why it didn't.
Hey, who's that guy making all the noise in the crowd up there?
Well, I'm lucky enough to have a lot of family up there. Cassandra, thanks for supporting me this whole time, so let's ride it out.
All right, thanks, Matty.
Let's go back and look at this run. Once the times went good, things went really good for Matt Slingerland. Look at how clean, consistent these cookies are. No lift, no hesitation. 3 on the deck, a solid time. Matt Slingerland posted a 4.95 with that run, his official time.
And with that, his total points sit at 60 with that 4.95. He assumes the hot seat for now. And Matt Slingerland has taken advantage of all the volatility on the scoreboard in this final triple points discipline.
Next heat of a hot saw, returning ex-champion, former champion, Cassidy Shear. Again, that 4.95, the time to beat. Cassidy Shear has won the championship in the hot saw race. He won the hot saw in his semifinal round. Can he do it again?
Warm up your saw.
Cassidy saw sounded good, doing all his preparations again. That throwaway starter cord, wrapping it up and put his tether on, the ignition switch, the oiler. So many preparations.
30 seconds.
I'll quiet down and let him go.
We see there one of the last moves that Cassidy's going to make that a lot of these guys make is turning on their oiler.
Athlete ready.
That's that action right there. That's the oil valve.
Timber.
You don't want to puke out a bunch of oil on the stage.
Go!
And here it is, go time. A bit of hesitation at the top of that cut, lining up, but no lift. Not exceptionally fast through the wood on that third cut. I don't know, that maybe that chain's just not quite as aggressive, or he didn't push on it, but or maybe he was a little worried. He may have been steering away from that that 6-inch line. I don't know. That third cut just did not seem on par with the rest.
It's still there. And yellow flag staying in Rich Hallen's pocket. You hear Cassidy Shear holding that throttle wide open. And we'll wait for the final call. Just a moment.
Cassidy Shear's time right around that 7-second mark. That is not going to be enough to take out Matt Slingerland.
Your cut is good.
right around the 7-second mark. Not really sure if Maddie Slingerland's sticking around or not. Gonna wait for the points decision. Again, triple points on the line right now.
Gonna look at the leaderboard. That's Slingerland with the best time so far.
Oh, and that is going to do it with enough points. Yeah, triple points. That does put Cassidy Shear in the hot seat.
Needed 14, got 15.
Well, there you go, Cassidy Shear. We're waiting for him in the hot seat. 2-point lead now on Maddie Slingerland. Well, Cassie, you absolutely attacked that hot saw full throttle. Do you always hold the throttle wide open in between cuts?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of new to hot sawing 4 or 5 years, and Lawrence O'Toole told me if you want to win, you got to be a man and hold the throttle down all the way. So, yeah, I mean, I'm still an average hot sawyer. I'm trying to get better. I did some math backstage, and a clean cut was the move for me, and I got that. So very happy. I want to say hi to my daughter, Everly, back home. I love you. And I want to say hi to Megan as well. Thank you for making me a better person.
The production truck is a yo-ho out of here.
Yo-ho!
Let's take a look at the replay.
Well, here is that run. He did stay on it. The third cut was the one that seemed like it slowed down a bit, and I think it's because he was running out of real estate and just kind of stayed tight to that line. But a good, clean, safe cut from Cassidy Shear. We'll tell Lawrence O'Toole, Cassidy, you didn't lift.
And again, our results as it stands right now, Cassidy Shear with top points, with his cumulative total, is in the hot seat. He is second within the hot saw competition here. His official time of 6.73.
Our next hot sawyer coming all the way from North Fork, California, Nate Hodges.
Warm up your saw.
Well, Nate Hodges just had a heck of a day today. Made it to the final round of the hot saw here, fueled by a great cut in the single block, a second place in the standing block. So consistent today. 3 more discs left to go.
Seconds.
Good effort in the springboard as well for Nate Hodges.
Yeah, looking at the math here right now in front of me, a 4th place finish for Nate Hodges would tie him with Cassidy Shear right now. Obviously, this is a lot more than just he and Cassidy Shear. We still have Matt Koger left to go.
He needs 13 points to take over the hot seat.
Athlete ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm pretty sure Nate Hodges only knows one speed, and here we're going to see, oh, there is a lift and a very thick cut there were some lifts in between those cuts, so that tells me he's maybe keeping it in his pocket a little bit. Not a full tilt run, showing about a 6-second run. They're going to look to make sure he's got 3 clean discs.
Close to him, that line barely remaining. Cassidy and Hodges just scraping
Little head
line.
nod there from Rich Hallett. It looks like he approves.
He's going to stick around in the hot seat right now. Cassidy, our virtual leader overall.
6 seconds. If he holds around there, that should put him in the 2nd place slot.
Hodges just leaning into that saw, pushing everything. With the saw, it's the saw at the end of the day anyway, but that saw so much power. We're going to wait for the call by Rich Hallett.
Nice job. Your cut was good.
Well, Cassidy Shear is going to exit the hot seat, and Nate Hodges will take over the throne for now.
Nate, tell us about that cut. You fired the saw, it wound up, kind of pulled a wheelie above that log, and you went pop, 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 and got that saw going, and then you just attacked it. Tell us about controlling that start, and were you full throttle lock?
Yeah, I've been fiddling with that throttle lock for a while. It's been whooping my butt here for the last year, and I still don't have it right. But you know, that's a DC hot saw. Dennis Cahoon, he's got the most powerful hot saws on the planet, in my opinion. And you know, if you don't have that thing right, that's what happens. Dang thing will fly right up out of your hands if you're not careful. So that's what happened. I tamed it, got her back into the wood, and made my 3 cuts.
That was a great cut, and so much on the line. Not only a national title, but you want to be part of the U.S. team. Let's say we do this again, we get a U.S. team relay heading overseas. What's the event that you would like to do to represent the United States?
Honestly, Dave, if I'm going to represent my country, I just want to do whatever works best for the team, if I was to even make the team. At this point, likely that would probably only be the standing block, if anything at all. I'd like to see us just walk away with the win, whatever that takes.
Thanks, Nate.
Here's that run one more time from Nate Hodges. You can see it does get away from him at the top. A little bit of hesitation on that switch, but he gets it dialed in very thin at the top of that 3rd and final cut, but he was running out of real estate. No other real viable option other than staying thin and going for the win. That puts Nate Hodges at 65 total points overall right now.
Well, let's reset it now with our overall points. Nate Hodges on points based on that final cut takes over the hot seat position right there. Slingerland Shear. Matt Koger yet to cut. All right, we are told that Matt Koger will need a 5.8 in order to win. He needs 13 points to tie, 14 points to win outright.
Our final event of the day, final athlete of the day, the 6-time champion, looking for 7. Bring him out, Matthew Koger.
Warm up your saw.
If he is going to get his 7th U.S. title here at the Stihl Timbersports Series.
Nate Hodges in the hot seat looking for his very first championship. All coming down to this one.
Matt Koger saw sounding crisp, clean.
Final event of the day.
30 seconds.
So again, he's got to have a 5.8 or better, or Nate Hodges will collect his first U.S. Stihl Timbersports Championship.
Athlete ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Up and in the wood, here we go. Matt Koger, very thick second cut, very thin third cut. 5.99 showing on the current time to beat.
This is going to be incredibly close, Matt Koger chasing a 5.8 from Nate Hodges.
All we can do now is watch and
time.
wait.
Right now they're looking at about a 5.99. We're shooting at 120 frames per second. We don't know. We'll know in moments whether Matt has beaten the time of Nate Hodges, if we will have a 7-time champion or a new champion from California.
Okay, your cut was good.
Two 100s. The time to beat was 5.80. It came in 2 100s faster. 5.78. He's done it. Matt Koger, 7-time national champion. That is as close as it gets. Let's give a big round of applause from Grafton, West Virginia, Matt Koger. Unbelievable, the closest finish we've seen in timber sports history. 2 100s, 6 events. It took 3 qualifiers, a quarterfinal, a semifinal, a final, and it came down to 2 100ths of a second. We're going to do a quick interview now, and I've got a feeling there may be a podium you're going to be standing on. Matt, we talked earlier, you've been fighting for 7, and you said after you won the 3rd national title, you felt this self-inflicted pressure on yourself to repeat it. You lost some enjoyment, you had to find yourself again, and you got 3 more, then you fell in a bit of a slump, you fought back, and here you are, number 7, buddy. What do you feel?
Oh my God, just so elated. I didn't realize I had to beat that time by 200s, and whoa. Whoa, okay.
Nate and I were doing the math over here. Nate had it wrong. I had it wrong. I'm listening to Kevin and Tommy with the times. I'm like, I think he's just got to get under 5.8. And you just didn't know. What was that like, the moments waiting to see how those hundreds would play out?
There's a little bit of reprieve because the day's done. You're ready to go home. But then, you know, just knowing that it was just a great day with all these guys, and they put their heart into it, I put mine into it, and come out ahead. That was pretty spectacular.
As if it was purposely set up. You and Nate went head-to-head in the standing block. You barely beat him. That won it for you, winning that standing block. Then you went head-to-head in the springboard. You just nipped him in the springboard. Then you were here, 1, 2 in the hot saw. 200ths of a second. You got it.
Well, I told him that I'll try to keep up with their pace.
Anyone you want to thank before we let you go to the podium?
I just want to thank my dad for helping me out, and thank my family for coming out, and thank my... And, you know, thanks to Red Bull for sitting behind me, and really, it's been a great collaboration, and they've really helped me learn a lot, and just, you know, thanks to all the athletes giving their all today.
Thanks, Matt. We'll let you put your hot saw away. We're going to bring you up one more time, buddy.
Let's take one more look at this champion crowning run. This was when I got real nervous for Matt Koger, was that second disc. That was a huge slab of wood. Of course, the unofficial time showing up on at the stage at the time was a 5.99. We knew he was in the neighborhood of that 5.8. Turns out he was right next door.
Just incredible. Needed Well, he needed 14 points to win it. He got 15.
What an exceptional return to the championship ranks for Matt Koger. If you're going to do it, I guess tooth and nail right to the end is the best way.
And having to dial up a 5.8 or better and bettering it by 0.02 of a second. How improbable, how amazing an accomplishment is that?
All right, let's bring up our top 3 finalists taking the bronze medal, fighting through timber sports with a broken elbow from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, Maddie Slingerland. Taking the silver medal, his highest placing ever in timber sports, Nate Hodges. From Grafton, West Virginia, the 7-time National Timber Sports Champion, Matthew Koger. Let's give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for our top 3 and all of our timber sports athletes that have been here this weekend. The rookie division, the women's division, the men's professional division. Let's give it up one more time. Hands in the air, the 7-time champion, Matthew Koger.
Were spectacular. Matthew Koger coming up big in those, but it was that hot saw that got the job done. How incredible was that final effort?
7-time champion Matt Koger. Just insane to say those words.
What an incredible day. What a great 12 athletes we followed through this competition. Congratulations especially to our medalists there. The second silver medal for Nate Hodges right there. But again, 7-time your national champion from West Virginia, Matt Koger. Said the sport is in his blood. It's certainly in his heritage and his history. That's why he's chosen this as his pathway through life. And you can't argue that it wasn't a great choice.
Getting a look at his pathway through the day today, you saw that amazing underhand run, that great stock saw run. His standing block, though, was for me, that punctuation that just set that stage for him.
The springboard excelled in that as well, set him up for this, his 7th win. Hats off to Matt Koger.